Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Good morning, everyone. Oh man, I'm just waking up and trying to catch up on all of this. Welcome in, everybody. Let me get my screen going here. We're hearing about the U.S. figure skating team, and good morning, everybody. Let me get this pulled up here. We had a press conference. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but we're definitely going to play that. I didn't get much sleep either, Sophia Petrillo. All right, let's take a look at this, and then I'm going to look at this wreckage. Look at the wreckage. Y'all, all of the people are still in. Good morning, by the way. All of the people are still in the plane, in the water. Good morning, everyone. Here we go. Let's listen to a little bit of this.
Were on the helicopter.
Horrible.
The organization that oversees U.S. figure skating confirms athletes, coaches, and family members who had just attended a training camp were among the passengers. You might recall the figure skating championships took place this past weekend in Wichita. NBC Washington reports more than 30 bodies have now been recovered during search and rescue operations, citing two sources familiar with the search efforts. Officials say those efforts are complicated by the ice in the Potomac and the darkness.
It's a highly complex operation. The conditions out there are extremely rough for the responders. It's cold. They're dealing with relatively windy conditions. Wind is hard out on the river.
Newly sworn in Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said on X that the Pentagon and the Army are investigating the crash. And in a post on Truth Social, President Trump called the tragedy a terrible night, saying the situation, quote, should have been prevented. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We, of course.
Okay, so President Trump saying this should have been avoided. But let's go forward to the press conference from this morning. This is from, I think, like 7:30. Here it is.
Let's get an update now on this mid-air collision outside of Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and other safety officials about to greet the press. 67 people unaccounted for at this hour as search and rescuers continue to comb the icy waters of the Potomac looking for any hope. 67 people on board that regional jet, the American Airlines jet flying from Wichita, Kansas into Washington, that was hit by a Black Hawk helicopter. About 9 o'clock last night. I'm Muriel Bowser.
I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C. We are here at Reagan National Airport to provide an update on the tragic events of last night. I'm joined by U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, D.C. Fire and EMS Chief John Donnelly, American Airlines CEO Robert Eisen, the MWA, the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority CEO Jack Parter, United States Senator Mark Warner, United States Senator Tim Kaine, U.S. Representative Don Beyer, as well as the Chief of the Metropolitan Police Department, Pamela Smith. And we are joined by first responders from across the Metropolitan Washington region. I speak for all of us when I say, and certainly all Washingtonians, how very sad we are for American Airlines, for the United States Department of Defense, and for all Americans for the loss of life that happened with the collision of these aircrafts. We know that includes families from across our region as well as in Kansas and across the country. This morning, we all share in a profound sense of grief. I do want to thank the first responders who acted quickly last night, who ran towards danger, went into a very frigid river, and have worked throughout the night. Chief Donnelly reported in last night's briefing that we have a strong mutual aid agreement in our region, and those teams have worked together throughout the night in really tough and heartbreaking conditions, and we should all thank them for their heroic efforts. So we'll have several updates today. I'm first going to turn to the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, and then you will hear directly from Chief John Donnelly with a situational update.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, Sean Duffy here, Secretary of Transportation. We wish we were gathering for different purposes today. I just want to let you know that the Department of Transportation, the FAA, along with the White House, President Trump, local, state, and federal partners all working together on this incident in unison. I couldn't be prouder of this team that's been assembled, working tirelessly. Mayor, I want to thank you specifically for your work. A few details I'd like to give all of you, and some of you reported this, but last night, if you live in the D.C. area, you would know that this was a clear night last night. The helicopter was in a standard pattern. If you live in the D.C. area, you'll see helicopters up and down the river. This flight pattern is seen oftentimes when you live in D.C. This was a standard flight pattern last night as well. The American airline flight coming into land was in a standard flight pattern as it was coming into DCA. So this was not unusual with a military aircraft flying the river and aircraft landing at DCA. And again, if you live in the area, you'll see that frequently with those two aircraft working together. As many of you have reported, we have located the two aircrafts. The fuselage of the American airline plane was inverted. It's been located in 3 different sections. It's in about waist-deep water, so that recovery is going to go on today as that recovery takes place of the fuselage of the aircraft. NTSB is going to start to analyze that aircraft, partner with the FAA with all of the information we have to get the best results possible for the American people. I would just say that safety is our expectation. Everyone who flies in American skies expects that we fly safely, that when you depart an airport, you get to your destination. That didn't happen last night. And I know that President Trump, his administration, the FAA, the DOT, we will not rest.
Thank you so much, Miss Sherry, for your tip. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for being here, everybody. Good morning. If you could hit the like button on your way in.
Until we have answers for the families and for the flying public. You should be assured that when you fly, you're safe. Thank you.
Oh, well, wasn't that profound? I'm sorry. I'm not impressed by this guy. I don't think I don't know. That was profound, though. Thank you, Mr. Real World. MTV called. They said you did a great job.
Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, Mayor. I'm joined today with Fire Chief Bonnet from the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority, and I'm John Donnelly, Chief of the District of Columbia Fire and EMS Department. Last night at 8:48, the control tower sounded an alert, which alerts responders to respond to a report of an aircraft crash on or near the airport. That sets off an immediate response from the Airport Authority Fire Department, from the District of Columbia and Metropolitan Harbor Patrol fire boats and other fire boats on the river in order to support that type of operation. Very quickly, this call escalated. It became apparent, the responders realized that they had a plane crash and immediately escalated to a response that ultimately included about 300 people last night. These responders found extremely frigid conditions. They found heavy wind. They found ice on the water, and they operated all night in those conditions. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the agencies that responded in addition to DC Fire and EMS and the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority: Montgomery County Fire Department, the Prince George's County Fire Department, the Charles County Fire Department, the Baltimore County Police Department, the Anne Arundel County Fire Department, the Alexandria Fire Department, the Arlington County Fire Department, the Fairfax Fire Department, the Prince William Fire Department, the Baltimore City Police Department, the Maryland State Police, the Maryland Natural Resources Police, the Department of Defense, the Joint Base in Bowling Fire Department, and the staff there, the U.S. Army, the U.S. Coast Guard, the United States Park Police, the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, and the NTSB. Despite all those efforts, we are now at a point where we are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation. At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident, and we have recovered 27 people from the plane and 1 from the helicopter. The District Office of the Medical Examiner has lead on reuniting these bodies and these people with their loved ones, and we will continue to work to find all the bodies and collect them and reunite them with their loved ones. We should also acknowledge that the Virginia Medical Examiner and the Army Medical Examiner are involved in this operation and a very important part of getting people identified.
Hyundais? Really?
Our hearts are certainly with all of the crew.
So he basically said no one survived this. So the news that we heard 4 people survived last night, I guess, was false. Because they're saying not one person in that plane survived, guys.
In American Airlines, and we'll hear from CEO Isom.
Here's the guy we saw last night.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning.
Totally having vibes from the fires, right? With the governor from California. Collar popped, hair done. Good morning.
Morning. I'm Robert Isom, the CEO of American Airlines. I want to express my sincere condolences for the accident that happened at DCA last night. We're absolutely heartbroken for the family and loved ones of the passengers and crew members, and also for those that were on the military aircraft. Our focus right now is doing everything that we can to support all of those involved and also the PSA Airlines team. This is devastating. We are all hurting incredibly. We urge any family and friends looking for information about their loved ones to call our designated helpline, and that's at 1-800-679-8215, 1-800-679-8215.
Hey, Robert.
And here's what I can share at this early stage. American Eagle Flight 5342, operated by PSA Airlines, traveling from Wichita, Kansas to Reagan National Airport, was involved in an accident just before 9 p.m. local time on final approach into Reagan National. It collided with a military aircraft on an otherwise normal approach. And at this time, we don't know why the military aircraft came into the path of the PSA aircraft. Flight 5342, a CRJ 700, was under the command of 4 crew members. They carried 60 passengers, as you know, for a total of 64 people on board. In addition to local resources already here in D.C., American Airlines has activated our care team, and that's a group of specialists that are trained to support these types of responses.
The care team.
These team members are on site or arriving soon. And additionally, we have members of our GO team that are on ground here in D.C., and they're being deployed with resources to do everything that we can to take care of the needs of the families and the loved ones of the passengers and crew members. And that is our sole focus. And we're so grateful for the first responders. They've been working through the night with courageous efforts.
I'm sure
We're
they're really
actively
caring.
working with local, state, and federal authorities on emergency response efforts and closely coordinating with PSA Airlines as they cooperate fully with the NTSB on the investigation. I know that there are many questions. At this early stage, I just won't be able to answer many, but we'll provide additional information as it comes. Thank you.
I want to introduce the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority CEO, Jack Potter. The authority manages Reagan Washington National and Dulles International.
Good morning, and thank you, Mayor. First, let me begin by expressing our condolences for all the victims of this flight and for their families. There's a lot of grieving going on, and so we're very sympathetic to that. I want to echo what was said about the first responders. When there's a problem in this area, everybody drops everything and they rush to wherever the problem is. So I want to thank the chief, the entire team from Washington, D.C., but just as important, the list of folks that the chief described. Federal authorities have been here en masse, and so a lot of effort was brought to bear. Unfortunately, we weren't able to rescue anyone, but we are in the recovery mode right now. And I just want to, last night I expressed the fact that we hope to open at 11 o'clock today, and that is still the case. We're going to open the airport at 11 o'clock. And again, condolences to the families and thanks to the many, many who are still out there working very, very hard to complete this recovery. Thank you, Mayor.
I do want to acknowledge that the Virginia Transportation Secretary is here, in addition to the Alexandria Mayor, and I will like to ask members of the Virginia congressional delegation to the podium next. U.S. Senator Mark Warner, followed by Tim Kaine and Representative Don Beyer.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to join with everyone else and express my condolences for the victims. For folks who don't live in the DMV, we are made up of a lot of jurisdictions. Reagan Airport's in Virginia. Across the river, we have Maryland, obviously the district, but as been indicated by the chief, when tragedy happens, all those distinctions between the various jurisdictions and our federal partners all disappear. And I want to, again, thank all the first responders. On a personal note, I'll just add that literally, I now know I was coming back from the district from a dinner to my home in Old Town Alexandria. And while I did not see the collision, I wondered, I'd never seen this many red lights streaming towards the airport and across the river in Maryland about this time. My phone started blowing up, and I realized that this accident had taken place. There'll be a time to figure out. I know NTSB will have a briefing later in the day. But to the victims, our condolences. To the first responders, our thanks.
Sorrow, thanks, and questions. So sorrow, as all have expressed, to the crew, to the passengers, to the soldiers, to their families, to their friends, to their loved ones, to people who are still trying to get information and unsure whether their loved ones have been lost. We offer our profound condolences to them and our sorrow for this tragedy. Thanks. I'll echo, Mayor, what you began with. When you see a challenge like this and you see people from so many different agencies, local, state, federal, with different uniforms, different badges, but working in such a coordinated way, even in the midst of a tragedy, it does give you a sense of appreciation and pride in people's willingness to come to the danger and work together. And I started to see that as a local official 30 years ago in Richmond, and definitely have seen it here. And then finally, questions. There are going to be a lot of questions, obviously, a lot of questions. And that's what the NTSB's job is to be an independent investigator of incidents like this. And they are here. We were in dialogue with them earlier today. They've been here since they got the alert, and they will be doing the work and playing lead in answering the many questions that we have, and that's as it should be. It's not a time to speculate. It's a time to investigate and get answers to the questions we need, and I have confidence that will be done. Thank you.
Following up on the Senator, I think grief, thanks, and service, with millions and millions of Americans traveling every year, we are all grieving, knowing that it could have been our loved ones, it could have been us. And our hearts go out to all those who have lost folks. In a most partisan place, also, I'm really thankful that Democrats and Republicans, people from all over, have come together to try to make sure that people are served. As a local representative, I want the families to know that our office is available to serve you in any way we possibly can through this time of grief and transition and loss. And then also just note that we're deeply grateful for the people who risked their lives last night on a moment's notice and spent the whole night on the river in the ice and the wind, serving us. And then finally, as Senator Warner noted, after the NTSB investigation, we've got to make sure that at the federal level and with the support of Virginia and Maryland, D.C., we're doing everything we can to make sure this does not happen again.
So with that, it's been said already that the National Transportation Safety Board becomes the lead agency in the investigation. Our jurisdiction in D.C., where the crash occurred over the river, concludes as we, in the leadership role of the Unified Command, as we shift to a recovery effort. We expect the National Transportation Safety Board to provide briefings to the press later in the day. So at this point, we can take a few questions. Yes?
Can you say without a shadow of a doubt that people are safe to fly?
What we can talk about today is what happened here with the collision of these vehicles. We've said what we know, and that the National Transportation Safety Board continues to investigate. I don't know that any of us have been briefed on anything that would suggest any other aircraft are implicated. Yes?
You're still missing 30-plus people in the water. What are some of the challenges in recovering them right now?
Chief.
So the rescue operation or the recovery operation goes on. It's a lot of touch and feel in the different parts of the plane or in the helicopter, and the crash area is a little spread out, so we've got some work to do. And I think it's a pretty normal type of situation. I don't think it's extraordinary.
How spread out is this debris field?
So the wind started blowing last night, so we've had debris travel from the airport down as far as the Wilson Bridge.
Mile-wise, how far is that?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Less than a mile.
This is a question for CEO Carter. You're going to open the airport at 11 o'clock this morning. How are you going to do that, and what impact is that going to have on operations, on passengers, on people's anxiety? How are we going to do this?
Well, we're going to open the airport at 11 o'clock. It's safe. We've worked with all the federal agencies, FAA, and, it's been determined that we can open that airport safely. The recovery effort that's on our property is on the waterfront. Our primary runway, 119, will be open. It's away from any activity. We're going to have a secure area around that. So all are comfortable that we can get back to operations. Now, each airline will announce or communicate to their passengers what their operations are going to be. Obviously, their networks were disrupted overnight, and so we might have a slow recovery, but the bottom line is we will begin to have aircraft moving in and out of this airport at 11 o'clock.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
Has the flight recorder been recovered, the black box now?
I don't think we can say anything about what's in TSB's purview.
You mentioned the airport opens 3 hours from now. There's a lot of helicopter traffic from the military, U.S. Park Police, and all that. Will helicopters be flying right through here as well, beyond the recovery efforts?
I don't know the answer to that. Jack, do you have anything to add? We don't have anything to add about that. Yes.
This is for Secretary Duffy. Can you reassure Americans that the U.S. still has the safest airspace in the world?
So the question is, can I guarantee the American flying public that the United States has the most safe and secure airspace in the world? And the answer to that is absolutely, yes, we do. We have early indicators of what happened here, and I will tell you with complete confidence, we have the safest airspace in the world.
What's next? When it comes to informing these families who've tragically lost their loved ones, what has that looked like so far? Have any of them been informed? The flight manifest, is there any details you can provide on that front?
Can you add anything?
All I can say is that we have published the 1-800 number. We have family assistance centers set up here in DCA. We do in Wichita as well. I'm not at liberty to give the number of families that have been that have used those services, but we are making that use. We have over 100 team members that are either here or on their way that are specially trained to work with family members, handle travel arrangements, hotel arrangements, incidentals, to make sure that we're taking care of people in any way that they can, as you know, as our teams are hurting and suffering, and as our passengers and their families need assistance. We're doing everything we can. I don't have any more information on that right now.
Mayor, you're next. Chief Donnelly, can I ask you to describe the next phase of the investigation? How confident are you that you'll be able to recover all 67 of these bodies? And can you speak to some of the debris that's also being pulled out of the river? We understand there are some suitcases, some other things that have been pulled out from the river. And I would like to ask anyone here, perhaps the Transportation Secretary or Mr. Isom, if we know anything about these victims, age ranges, nationalities, anything of that nature.
So the next phase of this operation is going to be led by the NTSB. All of us are working together, though, to search the area and to find the victims. I'm confident that we will do that, and that will take us a little bit of time, though. It may involve some more equipment. As far as the things being collected, I don't have personal knowledge. I know that we have been collecting debris that you would expect to see from a plane.
Anything about the victims?
So the question is about the victims. The NTSB is going to lead that portion of the contact with the victims. I believe American is going to be involved with that as well, and so will the FAA and the Department of Transportation.
Secretary Duffy, we're going to take some questions over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
First, Secretary Duffy, the flight path that the helicopter was on, is that a common flight path, and is it normal for helicopters to get clearance to cut across busy approach paths?
So I don't know if you all could hear the question. It's a question about the flight path of the helicopter. I don't want to go into too much detail about the information we have from the FAA, but obviously it is not standard to have aircraft collide. I want to be clear on that. But prior to the collision, the flight paths that were being flown from the military and from American, that was not unusual for what happens in the D.C. airspace. And as this investigation moves forward, we will be able to provide more information to you about the details of that statement.
I wanted to follow up on that question regarding the flight path, because you said it's standard. So can you speak to the conversations with air traffic control? Were there blind spots here? I don't know if you can stand.
So the question is, were there blind spots with air traffic control? I don't want to make statements about that. I don't lead into that answer. But again, I think whether it was air traffic control, whether it was military aircraft, helicopters, or the American flight, everything was standard in the lead up to the crash. Now, obviously, something happened here. You'll get more information and more details as this investigation moves forward. We'll learn what happened. But again, those who live in the D.C. area, we see military helicopters fly up and down the river. It's a standard path that they fly. They're used to aircraft landing at DCA, and there's a procedure in place because this happens every day. Something went wrong here. I look forward to the time and point when we can give you that information, but I don't want to comment on that right now.
Something definitely went wrong.
Senator Warner, you all have been, very vocal about your concerns about busy runways here, air traffic. I know it's still early in the investigation. I'm just curious if any steps that you all plan to take to address that.
We have raised this issue continuously. We've got very busy airspace. I think we will ask questions, but at the appropriate time. We are in this period right now where families are still being notified. We're trying to figure out what happened. There'll be time for those discussions, I think.
Yeah, I'd just say the same thing. We've been pretty plain about our concerns, but it isn't a good time to speculate right now. We have faith that the NTSB will provide the answers about this.
Okay, four period, I'm going to take 3 in the middle, and then we're going to have to wrap 1, 2, 3 after this young man.
Thank you, appreciate it. Chief, I know, again, I can imagine it must be traumatic for your first responders to have to deal with this. How are they doing right now, and are you all going to be offering any services to help them as they process this?
So thank you for the question. Our first responders are resilient people, but yes, this call will be hard for them. Our peer support teams are already engaged with the responders, and we'll be following up on that to make sure that they're okay. But I think the concern is real.
What kind of communication was there between the helicopter and the tower, the plane and the tower, and the helicopter and the plane?
I don't want to say too much on the communication between the helicopter and the tower and the airline and the tower, but I will say this: there was communication. It was I would say standard communication, so there was not a breakdown, if that's your question, in communication between the military helicopter and the American airline flight. There was communication between the aircraft and the tower.
Was the plane aware there was a helicopter in the area?
I would say the helicopter was aware that there was a plane in the area.
You mentioned that, so the president, you said yesterday that you called into the briefing room. Has you
aware that there was the aircraft in the tower?
Was the plane aware there was a helicopter in the area?
Was communication between the aircraft and the tower?
Was the plane aware there was a helicopter in the area?
Was the plane aware there was a helicopter in the area? I mean, what the fuck?
I would say the helicopter was aware that there was a plane in the area.
It's not what he asked. It's not what he asked.
That, so the president, you said yesterday that you called into the briefing room. Has he returned to the briefing room since then? Have you spoken? Also a question about the National Security Advisor, Mike Walensky. He's saying that there was 30 bodies that have been recovered. That you just said that in the White House. I'm curious, I know you're in this presser right now, so that's hard for you to update, but I do have the question on CODIS in the briefing room.
I can get the body. So in terms of body recovery, as we recover bodies, we have a process, and we're not counting any bodies until they're in the possession of the medical director. So there may be some fluctuating in numbers that other people would report, but our numbers from the medical examiner.
So just in regard to the president in the briefing room, I've been with this team for the last hour plus as we've worked through the details of the information we wanted to give you. But it is my understanding that either this morning he was going to be in the situation room, or the situation room is obviously briefing the president. He has been kept in full appraisal of what is taking place.
Okay, last two. You ma'am. First.
You mentioned that the aircraft were on a standard flight pattern. Just curious, when the airport opens at 11 today, will planes be on that flight pattern again, or are they being directed to fly a different way to land?
Well, I mean, safety is paramount.
Thank you, Flo.
And I don't have that information quite yet from the FAA, so I don't want to provide an I don't want to provide an answer or inaccurate information on what routes will be flown out of DCA.
Last one.
Two questions really quickly. What do you know about the experience and history of the pilots of both the American Airlines plane and the Army Black Hawk helicopter? And then for Secretary Duffy, last night the president had said that this could have been prevented and questioned why air traffic control didn't tell a helicopter what to do. Is that something that investigators have determined should have happened in this situation?
Secretary, just quickly, I don't have a lot of information to release, but these were experienced pilots. I know that the captain had 6 years with
Who's the captain?
PSA, or almost 6 years with PSA, and the first officer almost 2 years.
Name them.
And again, standard approach, and that's about all I can say. Thank you.
In regard to the military, I don't have information in regard to the experience of the military pilots. I would just note that this was classified as a training mission. Sometimes people could think that a training mission is someone who is inexperienced in the cockpit. We call these missions that are flown in the D.C. area as our pilots are getting hours in experience training missions. So don't read into that we had how many hours the pilots on the military aircraft had. And you had another question for me that was.
Last night, the president had said that this could be prevented, and also that air traffic control, questioning why they may not have communicated with the helicopter, telling them what to do.
So we are going to wait for all the information to come in from this vantage point, but to back up what the president said, what I've seen so far, do I think this was preventable? Absolutely.
Well, there you go.
Thank you.
Is there an acting FAA director?
All right, we've been watching a news conference in Washington, D.C., myriad of officials with the...
Wow. So they admit that it was preventable, but they don't know if it was even on purpose. Who's the captain? Why aren't they naming the captain? I wonder. Let's take a look at this. This is from VASaviation. They put this video together. Let's check it out. He's got the overlay of the audio and the thing here.
Tower 5342 on Mount Vernon visual runway 1.
Blue Chief 5342 Washington Tower 1 star 320 17 got 25. Can you check runway 33?
Yeah, we can do 33 for Blue Chief 5342.
Blue Chief 5342, that's a Wilson Bridge. Thanks for runway 33, runway 33 clear for land.
Change to runway 33 for land, Blue Chief 5342.
So right there they tell the plane they're clear to land on runway 33.
Or 320 to 15, got 25. Traffic 2 out, no delay, runway 1 for takeoff.
Takeoff, runway 1, no delay. Washington Tower, American 3130 with you, runway 1.
American 3130 Washington Tower 1 star 310 got 25, runway 1 clear to land. Traffic may depart prior to arrival.
Okay, clear to land, runway 1, American 3130.
Clear to land on runway 1. Sorry. Good morning, everybody. We're watching VASaviation.
Contact some parks today.
Okay.
American 3130 slow the funnel.
Slow on American 3130.
Pass 25, traffic just off the Wilson Bridge to CRJ is 1,200 feet, start from runway 33. This is Bridge Crew. American 1630 Tower, runway 1, lot void, traffic throughout, start from runway 33, dispatch 16 on funnel.
Runway 1.
Blue Chief 5307, keep rolling out to November, ground 47 today. American 1630 1 star 320 14, Gulf 25, traffic 2 mile up base runway 33, no delay, runway 1 clear for immediate takeoff.
Number 1, clear for takeoff, American 1630.
Pass 25, do the CRJ in flight. Pass 25, pass behind the CRJ. Good separate.
American 4782 by Baton now for an visual.
American 472, Washington Tower, 1 star, 32017.
All right, this is Win. Tower, did you see that?
American 472. American 3130, go around, turn left end 250, climb maintain 3000.
Okay, left heading 350, 3000, American 3130.
Tower, Blue Streak, 5347 is on final. Request runway 33, circle to 33.
Second heading for American 3130.
American 3130, go around, turn left end 270, climb maintain 3000.
270 on the heading, 3000, American 3130.
American 472, cancel landing clearance runway 1 continue. American 472, cancel approach clearance runway 1 continue.
Approach clearance canceled, we're continuing. Blue Streak 5305, I think you saw that over by house.
Affirmative.
Did you hear that?
Clarify what you want 478 to do. Are we going around or are we continuing?
05, maintain 3000.
American 472 is going around. We're going to climb maintain 3000.
Tower, Blue Streak 5347 is on final.
All right, for American 4782, we're on the go. We're going to climb maintain 3000. You have a heading?
American 472, let's start heading 270, climb maintain 3000. Contact Atomic Run 118495.
270 the heading, 3000 and 1895 American 472.
I'm kind of confused. Are these other airlines that are talking right now? I'm a little confused. I'm sorry. Welcome back, Mad Joe.
American 3130, contact approach on 1895.
1895, that's 3130. 5347 is on final. Request circle to 33.
Blue Streak 5347, go around, climb maintain 3000, flight path heading
3000
heading, go around 3000, Blue Streak 5347. American 3130, contact approach, standby.
Crash. This is alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3. Oh, shit. Where's the alert 3? It is off the approach end of runway 33. Approach end of runway 33. Helicopter crash. Helicopter. Yes, copies. Copy out this morning. Crash. This is alert 3. 2 helicopters. Helicopter CRJ approach end of runway 33. Where are we? The approach end runway 33, a mile off final. Crash. Yeah. Kilo CRJ, approach end 33. Okay. How many tolls on board? We don't have any of that information. One for taxi, 301. Towers reporting a CRJ and a helicopter crash into the Potomac River. Can we go ahead and hold all operations till we have emergency units respond? We're going to go ahead and show the aerodrome closed. Yeah, that's affirmative. Hold all operations, aerodrome closed.
We'll play it again after.
Blue Streak 5347, turn right heading 0, Harrison. Blue Streak 5347, turn right heading 120.
120 on heading Blue Streak 5347.
And everybody just hold your positions, please, on the field right now.
South 43, ready for taxi.
Everyone's going to have to hold for down. I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Fire Command, the accident happened in the river. Both the helicopter and the plane crashed in the river. It's east of the approach end of runway 33.
Is the airfield closed?
Yes, the airfield is closed. The airfield is closed.
Runways as well?
Yes, all runways are closed. Nobody's landing. No one's moving at all.
And we have clearance across all taxiways and runways, correct?
Yes, you have clearance through the whole field, all taxiways and runways.
Look at that. Oh my God. September, I hope you feel better. Do you guys want to play that again? Heather Morton, my sister is an air traffic controller. Something is definitely off. They acknowledged it, but I'm not sure they acknowledged the right plane. How the fuck do you spell acknowledge? ACK. I don't think I heard the helicopter answer back if they saw the plane. No, they did say that the helicopter acknowledged the plane, but they're not saying the plane knew the helicopter was there. Let's listen again. Let's start from the beginning. Again, this is VASaviation that put this together. Give you guys the link. He's got other videos too. All right, here we go.
Tower 5342 on Mount Vernon visual runway 1.
Blue Chief 5342, Washington Tower 1 star 32017, Gus 25. Can you take runway 33?
Yeah, we can do 33 for Blue 5342.
Blue Chief 5342, that's a Wilson Bridge, change to turf runway 33, clear to land.
Change to runway 33, runway 33 for land, Blue 5342.
Jet 789, 1 star 32015, Gus 25, traffic 2 out, no delay, runway 1 for takeoff.
Takeoff, runway 1, no delay. Washington American 3130 with you, runway 1.
American 3130, Washington Tower 1 star 31014, Gus 25, runway 1 clear to land. Traffic may depart prior to arrival.
Okay, clear to land, runway 1, American 3130.
I agree with you, Lindsay.
Jet 789, contact John Parks, good day.
Have a good day.
American 3130, slow to final.
Slow in American 3130.
Pass 25, traffic just off the Wilson Bridge to CRJ at 1,200 feet, start runway 33. Dispatch crew. American 1630 Tower, runway 1, lot void, traffic through Alpha, runway 33, dispatch 16 off final.
Line up wait, runway 1.
Blue Chief 5307, keep rolling out to November, ground 47 good day. American 1630 1 star 32014, Gus 25, traffic 2 mile up base, runway 33, no delay, runway 1 clear for immediate takeoff.
Number 1, clear for takeoff, American 1630.
So is that the plane? Is that the plane that took off that we saw?
Pass 25, get the CRJ in flight. Pass 25, pass behind the CRJ.
Damn, Angie and Flo. Thank you so much, guys. Angie B coming in hot with 1 membership and One-Eyed Flo coming in hot with 10. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your new memberships, guys.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita.
American 4782 by Baton, Mount Vernon visual.
American 472, Washington Tower 1 star 32017.
Alright, this is wind. Tower, did you see that?
American 472. American 3130, go around, turn left in 250, climb maintain 3000.
Okay, left heading 350, 3000, American 3130.
Okay, wait.
Tower boost.
Is American 3030, is that the one that crashed? Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Is that the one that crashed? Which one crashed?
Streak 5347 is on final. Request runway 33, circle to 33. Second heading for American 3130. American 3130, go around to left end 2705, maintain 3000. 270 on the heading, 3000, American 3130. American 472, cancel landing clearance runway 1 continue. American 472, cancel approach clearance runway 1 continue.
Approach clearance canceled, we're continuing. Blue Streak 5305, I assume you saw that over to my house.
Affirmative.
Clarify what you want 478 to do. Are we going around or are we continuing?
05, maintain 3000.
American 472 is going around. We're going to climb, maintain 3000.
Tower, Blue Streak 5347 is on final.
All right, for American 4782, we're on the go. We're going to climb, maintain 3000. You have a heading?
American 472, let's start heading 2705, maintain 3000. Contact Potomac run 118495.
270 the heading, 3000 and 1895, American 4782.
American 3130, contact approach on 1895. 1895, 3130.
Oh, thank you, Sherry, for being a member for 11 months.
Is on final. Request circle to 33. Blue Streak 5347, go around, climb, maintain 3000, flight pattern heading 3000, heading, go around 3000, Blue Streak 5347. American 3130, contact approach, shoot, standby.
Crash. This is alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3. Oh, shit.
It does.
Where's the alert 3? It is off the approach end of runway 33. Approach end of runway 33. Helicopter crash. Helicopter. Yes, copies. Copy out this morning. Crash. This is alert 3. 2 helicopters.
Wait, what?
Helicopter CRJ approach end of runway 33. Helicopter CRJ alert 3. 2 helicopters. Helicopter CRJ approach end of runway 33. Out this morning. Crash. This is alert 3. 2 helicopters. Helicopter CRJ approach end of runway 33.
Thank you, Sherry Caldwell.
The approach end runway 33, a mile off final. Crash. Kilo CRJ, approach end 33. Okay. How many tolls on board? We don't have any of that information. One for taxi 301. Towers reporting a CRJ and a helicopter crash into the Potomac River. Can we go ahead and hold all operations till we have emergency units respond? We're going to go ahead and show the aerodrome closed.
Let me go back to that part.
Approach plans runway 1 continue.
Approach plans canceled, we're continuing. Approach plans canceled, we're continuing. Blue Streak 5305, I assume you saw that over to my house.
Affirmative.
See that?
Blue Streak 5305, I assume you saw that.
530 Blue Streak 5305. Confirm you saw that. It was a Black Hawk. And he says, affirmative.
Affirmative.
Clarify what you want 478 to do. Are we going around or are we continuing?
And then American Airlines is like, are we going around or are we continuing? They say climb and maintain 3,000 feet.
I maintain 3,000.
Kelsey, I think you're right. I think they told the plane to move, and it did. And I think it clipped like the end of it, right? The back of it into the side and the back, right? But why is the helicopter so freaking close to where these commercial passenger planes are landing in such a tight airspace? They say they do this all the time.
American 472 is going around. We're going to climb, maintain 3,000.
Tower, Blue Streak 5347 is on final.
All right, for American 4782, we're on the go. We're going to climb, maintain 3,000. You have a heading?
American 472, let's start heading 270, climb, maintain 3,000. Contact Potomac on 118495.
270, the heading, 3,000 and 1895, American 472.
American 3130, contact approach on 1895.
1895, American 3130. 5347 is on final. Request circle to 33.
Blue Streak 5347, go around, climb, maintain 3,000, flight pattern. 3,000 heading, go around 3,000, Blue Streak 5347. American 3130, contact approach, no, shoot, standby.
Crash. This is alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3. Oh, shit.
Did you hear him? He said, oh, shit. Listen again.
Crash. This is alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3. Oh, shit. Where's the alert 3? It is off the approach end of runway 33. Approach end of runway 33. Helicopter crash. Helicopter. Yes, copies. Copy out this morning. Crash. This is alert 3. 2 helicopters. Helicopter CRJ. Approach end of runway 33. Helicopter CRJ. Where are we? The approach end runway 33, a mile off final. Crash. Yeah. Kilo CRJ, approach end 33. Okay. How many totals on board? We don't have any of that information. One for taxi 301. I was reporting a CRJ and a helicopter crash into the Potomac River.
I think he misspoke, Cricket.
Hold all operations till we have emergency units respond. We're going to go ahead and show the aerodrome closed.
Yeah, that's affirmative. Hold all operations, aerodrome closed.
Lucy 5347, turn right, heading 0, Harrison.
I can say from experience on the, oh, Leona, I'm so sorry. I'm devastated. I'm a pro coach for USFSA, and my team was on that flight. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I think he misspoke. I can't remember what I was going to say now. I'm so sorry, Leona. Oh, I know what I was going to say. From looking at flight radar, there is always like Black Hawks up. You know what I mean? Like, especially around DC and Air Force bases in like Alabama area. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Mandy, I know.
Blue Street to 347. Turn right heading 120.
120 and heading Blue Street to 347.
And everybody just hold your positions, please, on the field right now.
South 438, ready for taxi.
Everyone's going to have to hold for down. I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Fire Command, the accident happened in the river. Both the helicopter and the plane crashed in the river. It's east of the approach end of runway 33.
Is the airfield closed?
Yes, the airfield is closed. The airfield is closed.
Runways as well?
Yes, all runways are closed. Nobody's landing. No one's moving at all.
And we have clearance across all taxiways and runways, correct?
Yes, you have clearance through the whole field, all taxiways and runways.
Am I frozen? Oh, never mind. I keep losing my mouse. All right, take a look at this. I want to take a closer look at these videos. Hold on. Jesus, I haven't seen this one yet. Have you guys? That must be taken from the airport. Holy. Is there sound with this? Hold on. No, there's no sound. Good morning, Maligator. Look at it. Looks like it, I mean, it flies directly into it, like the side of it. There was no weather issues. Why did this happen, guys? Look at this. I wonder if I could slow this down. Hold on. Yeah, I can. Okay, look at that. Slow motion. Oh my God. Wow. Let me slow it down a little bit more. See it coming towards it now. That's the plane, the bigger light that we see coming towards us. Oh my goodness. This is insane. Yeah, I don't quite understand how this happens either. I mean, I'm really anxious to hear, you know, how they explain this. Jeez, oh Pete. You heard someone miss the flight because they couldn't take their dog? Oh, wow. It's weird when shit like that happens. This just blows my mind, man. I mean, it just goes right into it. Like, is that like part of the plane that goes flying? Oh, I know, Stacy, the black box. Hopefully we do get to hear. I'm wondering if something happened to the folks in the helicopter, as I didn't hear them respond back. I heard that they did give confirmation, though, that they saw the plane. Maybe they misjudged. I mean, accidents do happen, right? They surely didn't want to tell us how many years experience the guy had that was driving it. It hit the tail end, and then it split the plane in two, is what they said last night. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Ava. I did hear that they did get confirmation that the helicopter saw the plane, but not vice versa. All right, let's look at this other. Let's look at this one. Oh, this is the one from the distance. But there it is. You can see it. Is the helicopter actually like blinking? Is that a blink that I see on the approaching helicopter? Look at that. Hold on. Let me blow this up. Let me blow it up for y'all. It looks like the helicopter is flashing, doesn't it? Or is it just me? Watch again. See the blinks? It blinks 3 times and then it hits it. Did y'all see that? Yeah, but they're saying that it was dark, right? Oh my God. They were supposed to go behind it, right? Okay, me. Thank you for becoming a member this morning. Welcome, welcome. Right, but didn't they say, Redneck, that it was dark? It was flying, quote unquote, dark? What does that mean? I thought that when it flew dark, it was off the radar. No one could see it. So you mean to tell me these... Okay, so you mean to tell me this thing was flashing and the pilot of the airplane wasn't like, holy shit. Can you imagine being a passenger and seeing this fucking thing coming towards you? I didn't even think about that. Think about the people with the window seats on that side. Seeing this big old Black Hawk coming at you. Can you imagine? I know, look how bright the plane is. The angle of the video is deceiving. But can you imagine being a passenger with a window seat and you see this big old Black Hawk helicopter? Oh my God. Why are they making it seem like the plane crashed into the helicopter? I don't know. Because the helicopter is, or the plane is on track to land. Flying dark means night flights with limited visibility. Oh. Yeah, everybody's looking out the window too when you're ready to land because you're like awake. If you were sleeping, like, you start to descend and everybody starts getting their shit together, putting their trays up, making sure their seat belts are buckled, blah, blah, blah. And they're ready. I mean, these people were like 200 feet from the damn landing strip. They were almost home. And if you think about them coming down, I mean, that close, everybody's looking, y'all. If you have a window seat, you're looking. Me, I'm assuming it hit the tail, like the back of it, but I don't know. Black Hawks fly in complete darkness. But why are they maneuvering around our planes with innocent people on them. I have a problem with this. I just can't even imagine. It's everybody's worst fear is a plane crash. And there it is. Moments before disaster. Look how bright the plane is. Moments. Mere seconds. Right there. Can you imagine? Fuck. Oh, I can't. I always look out when I'm landing because I'm so glad that it's over. It's like home stretch. You know what I mean? You get through the flight. Ugh. Sherry, me too. Oh, just god awful, man. You know, you almost got to wonder. You almost got to wonder about training exercises sometimes. Now that we find out that the Jersey drones that everybody was flipping out about were fucking approved by the FAA to be flying, and no one could tell us that. I don't like that. I don't like weird things like that going on in the skies. This is absolutely horrible, man. I just can't. Look at the cars on the freeway too, that all witnessed that. Oh, I know. I hate taxiing too. I hate it. I hate it. Hate it. Hate it. That's what I'm saying, Kelsey. Like, as the plane, like, okay, so like, Kelsey, you're so right. Because here's the plane, right? You can see it here. And you can see the helicopter to the left, right? I wonder if the pilots had any idea that helicopter was right there to the right. I mean, the depth could be deceiving, as someone said on this video. Of course, but the plane is clearly coming right towards us, right? And that helicopter is moving fast, dude. Look how fast it's going. It's almost like a beeline right into it. I hate to say that. Can you imagine if you waited your whole damn life just to take that flight? I know. But look how fast it's going. Like, why? If they saw the plane, why the fuck didn't they slow down? And aren't these things supposed to, like, maneuver, like, fast? Aren't they supposed to be able to turn them? JD, that's a hard airport to land at. I heard it's tight. The pilots would have been super focused on flying and not looking around. Don't you think that passengers would have been screaming? If I saw the damn helicopter, I would have been like, what the fuck is that? It looks that way, but we don't know. You're right. I'm just saying, like, it looks really fast. And people who know about these helicopters, aren't they supposed to maneuver? Hey, Robin Malete, good to see you. Aren't they supposed to, like, maneuver quickly? Like, be able to make turns and stuff? I mean, I've flown a lot of times, y'all. I've been in a lot of landings, and I feel like if there was a friggin' helicopter coming at me, I would have seen it coming. I would have seen the lights blinking. By the time the passengers were screaming, it's already too late. Jay, what's your thought on maybe he saw the other plane and not the one taking off? I don't know. All I know is that this should not happen. Yes, Gene. Yeah. Okay. So when you're watching this video, wait till it starts over. That's the distance. It blows up. Now it's going to zoom in. So the big bright light you see is the plane. Then the little light blinking is the helicopter flying right into it. Boom. Right there. Crash. I know, Leona. That's what fucks me up, man. Why are they doing this shit in tight places where it's already like kind of you know? Is Trump doing a press conference shortly, or is that an X rumor? I haven't heard anything about that. I'm sure he will eventually. But I think he'll probably do a press conference when he finds out what happened, right? It's not really Trump's MO to get in front of the podium and go, well, I can't tell you anything. Good morning, Captain Ganja. Do you know what I'm saying? He'll wait until he knows what happened, and I believe he'll tell us. Oh, I'm always nervous when I land, too. That's why I have that. I watch, because I'm like, get me on the freaking ground. I can't wait until those wheels touch. But what do you guys think about the whole drone thing? Oh, I always loved flying at night so I could sleep. But what do you guys think about the drones? Kelsey says the helo was probably going behind it, maybe a blade hit the tail end of the plane. It could be. I mean, at that speed, couldn't some like the mildest like touch have sent everything wrong? Sherry, everything feels so willy-nilly everywhere. U.S. Figure Skating can confirm that several members of our skating community were sadly aboard American Airlines Flight 5342. But why don't they do these tests where it's not dangerous for us people? Thank you, Observer, for that update. Thank you, Sarah. President Trump will appear in the White House briefing room at 11 a.m. to brief Americans on Wednesday's deadly mid-air collision. Okay, so we got a half an hour and Trump will be speaking. I think there were some kids on there, guys. Yeah. Sherry, isn't that amazing? Big old social media psyops, right? Oh, they were approved to be flown. Funny how Biden leaves office and then all of a sudden, oh, those were FAA approved. Bullshit, man. So we got a half an hour until the press conference. Let's see what else we can find. Here's JLR. Name the helicopter pilot who crashed into the plane. Right. The plane didn't crash into the helicopter, as far as I can see. All right, let's look at, let's see here. 2 Russian world ice skating champions and 9 other American skaters were killed in the plane crash. An air traffic controller was detained for questioning. This is according to Nicole Walter. I don't know who that is, but that was 6 seconds ago. Hold on. I see you, Ann. What's up, girl? You got to be careful on X. So hold on. Let Let me make this bigger so you guys can see what I'm seeing. New angle of the American Airlines plane versus Black Hawk. The Black Hawk seems to be almost totally dark. What is this? Really? I'm just seeing if there's any. This might be fake. Click here to continue. It is. People are so sick. Oh, God. I'm not seeing much of pictures. A lot of garbage on X, that's for sure. Is that true? Did Trump fire? Here, let's see these videos. What is this? What is this? They're saying there was 2 near crashes? I'm not sure if this is even true. Is that really the flight pattern? This has been the longest, I know, the longest first month of the year. You don't look, you're too busy gathering your stuff. Hey, good morning, Dr. Melmo. Thank you for the text this morning. And I have to still look up that thing for you. So this is the helicopter, or is this the plane? I don't know what that is, Pine. It hit the plane at a 90-degree angle? No, there's no survivors. I believe this is the plane, though. Look at the doors. Like the walls of the plane. I saw Island earlier. I don't know if she's still here, though. I mean, it could have clipped it. You know what I mean? It could have clipped the tail of the plane and literally blew it up, like all that fuel, right? Jay, does the helicopter carry ammunition? I'm not sure about that. I'm I'm not sure. We have Trump in about 25 minutes, though, to give us an update. Who knows what he's going to say? He didn't seem too happy on Truth Social last night. This was fucking heartbreaking. Oh, my God. This poor man. You guys, this guy was here to pick up his wife. This broke my heart, man.
I'm just praying that somebody's pulling her out of the river right now as we speak. That's all I can pray for. I'm just praying to God.
When was the last time you spoke with her?
She texted me that they were landing in 20 minutes.
Can you show us a text message that you got from her?
Can you show us your last text message with your wife? So intrusive.
Landing in 20 minutes. The rest of my text did not get delivered.
His wife texted him, landing in 20 minutes. He texted her back. It didn't go through.
That's when I realized something might be up. I'm just praying that somebody's pulling her out of the river right now as we speak.
Awful. This man is living the worst day of his life right now. This guy is waking up to the worst freaking day of his life. I know. Isn't that sick? Can you show me the text? Like, really? This guy was in shock. Look at him. He's sitting literally in the airport. Look where he is. He's literally sitting in the airport waiting. Look at him. He was watching out the window to see his wife land. Look. And this reporter comes up. Oh, can I see that? Sitting there all by himself. Yeah, he hasn't slept. You're right. Sitting there all alone. Right? All alone, about to get the worst news of his life. And all this reporter can say is, can I see the text message? Waiting for his young wife to get back, right? It's so sad, dude. His private text message. He doesn't know what's going to happen. He's in shock. Young guy. God, it's awful, dude. Awful. Okay, so this here, let's read what this is. Exactly. That's when you should become a human and put the camera down and talk to him. Maybe he might need to call someone to get there. You know what I mean? Ugh. Yeah, how did you feel? I hate that too. So right here says the last recorded locations. Here's the runway. The plane was headed to this runway. And then here's the path of the helicopter, 200 feet. U.S. and Russian figure skaters among the passengers. Clear skies, normal paths. They're saying, quote, not a breakdown in communication. And the helicopter crew was, quote, fairly experienced and had night vision goggles. See this? From Mike Baker. Melissa, I know. People are just so fucking, ugh. We've lost touch with being humans, you know? Got to get that story. They talk about YouTubers and stuff. Got to get that story. Helicopter crew was, quote, fairly experienced and had night vision goggles. Says, imagine being in the air over Washington, D.C. when every screen in the plane is showing the plane crash. Oh, my God. That's creepy. That's creepy. Oh, here we go. Here's some victims now. 2 Russian skaters have been identified as perishing in the plane crash last night after an American airline flight was hit by a Black Hawk helicopter. This is Vadim Naumov and Evgenia Shishkova. Bless their souls. Trump says, let's see, this is from last night. Again, we have a press conference in 20 minutes we'll tune into. Let's see. The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight into the airplane for an extended period of time. This is from Trump. Here, look. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It is clear night, he puts in all caps. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down? Or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good. It almost looks like the helicopter, it goes higher to hit it. I mean, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but that's... Watch it. Watch this again. I'm going to go make a cup of coffee. I am going to go make a cup of coffee. That's wild. All right, hold on. Let me get I'm going to see what's going on the scanner while we wait for Trump. Let's see what's going on in the scanner. And I'm going to go make some coffee. I'll be back in just a couple minutes and we'll watch that press conference. It's a good time to hit that like button. Well, President Trump says that this helicopter was following them for a while. So, what happened? All right, be right back, guys. I be back. I'm back. All right, let's get something up here. Did anything come through on the scanner at all? Or is it pretty much dead? There's only 2,000 people listening, so I didn't know. All right, let's get over to YouTube and let's see what is going down. Da, 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 da. Oh, shit, guys.
So once
Hold on.
You know, we want to send our condolences out to the family, the friends, immediate family, to all of the tragedy.
Booking summer travel and we know spring break is around the corner, and so these airports are going to be busy over the next few months. And so I'm asking you, does this affect how you feel when it comes to travel at all?
Oh, no, not at all.
I'm scared now, even more scared.
Why?
We actually come down here, me and my wife, we've been coming out, like I said.
Dude, they ask the dumbest questions. How do you feel about flying now? Oh, of course, we're all kind of wigged out. I mean, there's still bodies in the water right now, lady. I can't with these reporters sometimes. 67 people. Here, let's cut that off. Look at this. This is a live look at the recovery efforts right now. They expect no survivors. No, I mean, I think that these people are literally still in the plane underneath the water, and they have to have divers go down there. It's absolutely awful. Jay, I put a link in Discord about the skaters. Oh, okay. Thank you. Hey, Life's the Beach. Thank you, Pine.
Knowing that there were some talent aboard from other countries. Back to you.
And you can feel that, Makia, the sadness, the shock, and even more now as we learn more about the people who are on board.
Well, as always, you start to see the faces of those who are impacted by this, and the emotions get even stronger. And you know, to Makia's point there, with the gentleman she was talking to, there's so many layers of this, right? In the tragedy itself, which unfortunately you hear of playing out in other places, which leads to this happening here. We're very territorial, right? We want everything to be good in our backyard, which our backyard is the DMV. And so it hits everybody a little more personally just from that level. And then you have the extreme personal level of knowing that there are people in our area that are, that watch us or that are potential to watch us all the time, that their lives will forever be changed because of these incidents that happen. So, you have the surface, I think, grief like that gentleman had, where it's just like, okay, let me question what I feel about this and how I'm feeling and what do I want to do with my future of air travel. And then you have the people where it's just like, wow, this really can't happen anywhere.
It can.
Even though it's been 15 years since there's been a commercial crash in the United States, this was the time for this to happen in DC. And then obviously, because it was here, you have people who were traveling back to this area from Wichita, where the flight originated.
Yeah, it can happen to anywhere, anytime. And we heard that echoed from a woman at the airport, and Melanie Alwick reports as well. We want to get to our newsroom and check in with Stephen Graddick and Jacqueline Matter. You all have more information on the victims.
Guys, you mentioned some of the faces and the names and the souls that might have been lost in all of this. And we just wanted to kind of give you some context to who might have been on that flight, at least to the folks
okay, here we go.
Confirmed this far.
Yeah, we know that there were 67 people on board both the helicopter as well as the American Airlines flight, but really not getting a whole lot as far as confirmation numbers are concerned. But we did hear earlier, probably about an hour and a half ago, from the Skating Club of Boston. We took that live here on Fox 5, and they confirmed 6 members of their skating club were among those who had passed away. 2 of them skaters there, Spencer Lane, who is 16, and Gina Hahn, who is 16 as well. Spencer Lane, they referred to him as a phenom, an up-and-coming skater.
2 16-year-olds, guys. Thank you, Mandy. I did get it.
We do have a photo of what Spencer Lane had tweeted, or excuse me, posted on Instagram yesterday. You can see that in the upper right-hand corner. He posted that before he got on the flight there with the call letters for...
See that? He posted that. Y'all, that is eerie. Man. This is absolutely horrible.
Wichita, Kansas to DCA. We also heard from the spokesperson there. His mom was reportedly on the flight with him, Christine Lane.
Oh my God.
And then Gina Han's mom, Jin Han, was also reportedly on that flight too.
Yeah, a little bit about Spencer. I mean, we went through all of his social media, went through the club just to kind of see who he was. He was a phenom. I mean, he was just a great skater, and along with a few other skaters from Boston Skate Club, I think 4 finalists actually finalized in that competition that they were doing in Boston.
Gina, spokesperson there, Wichita, he posted on, we do have a photo as a phenom, an 16 as well. Sarah Spencer Lane, those who had passed away, 2 of them skaters there. Spencer Lane, who is 6.
All right, Spencer Lane. I'm just going to Google him. Spencer Lane. This is him. Oh, you guys can't see it. Hold on. This is Spencer. Figure skater. Posted eerie photo just hours. He attended the National Development Camp that figure skaters had been returning from when the plane crashed. He was an up-and-coming skater. What a cute kid. A figure skater believed to be on board American Airlines posted a haunting image that appears to have been taken from the doomed flight just hours before it crashed. Here's the picture. Hold on. The wing of that damn plane that's now in the water. So he was sitting right by the wing. I know, he's so cute. Here's the couple. This is okay, so Spencer also posted about the championships and national development camp right before the crash, sharing a series of images posing alongside other young skaters, as well as a video of himself on the ice. He wrote, quote, "I am so happy to have qualified for National Development Camp earlier in November. It has been my goal ever since I became aware that it was a thing. I learned so much new information that I can apply to my everyday life and met so many amazing people." He added, "Thank you at U.S. Figure Skating and the local organizing committee for making everything happen. And lastly, huge thank you to all the amazing friends, coaches, and faculty I have met over the last week. It was such an amazing experience." Russian figure skaters Yevgenia Shikova and Vadim Namov are reported to have been on board. She's 53 and he's 56. They are believed to have been traveling with their son, Maxim Namov. The married couple won the World Figure Skating Championship in pairs in 1994, and their 23-year-old son placed 4th in the U.S. Figure Skating Championships held in Kansas last week. Whole family gone. Gone. Why do you wrap foil around your knob? What is that about? Here's people that were out there last night looking. Okay, let's go back to YouTube. We should be getting that press conference. Let's see. Hold on.
Coverage of this crash. Let's listen in.
Airline flight from Wichita, Kansas to Washington, D.C., DCA. We're coming up on the 11 o'clock hour, and just to let you know, a little housekeeping here. We are expecting to hear from the President of the United States shortly. Also expecting to hear from other cabinet officials. We know for sure the Transportation Secretary. Don't know yet if we'll hear from the Secretary of Defense or not. He did make a statement last night. We're waiting on an updated one this morning as well. But they typically defer to the president when it comes to this. But Sean Duffy, of course, Transportation Secretary, did speak out earlier. He was at Reagan National Airport with Mayor Bowser and others.
Sean Duffy. Seriously, is he related to Patrick Duffy? Thank you, Tish, for being here. We will turn them back on when Trump takes over. I think so. Sherry, he was an up-and-coming skater, so he could have been Olympic bound eventually, or on the U.S. skate team, right? You heard the son wasn't confirmed? Well, if he wasn't on there, then he's lost both his parents. Oh, they're getting ready. There's the podium.
Searching, looking for those victims, and they did not see and find any signs of life. They had to fight treacherous conditions. Overnight, we understand it was brutally cold, of course, and it has been. And also there was ice in the water. They had to literally break through the ice to get to the bodies and to also get to some of the materials from the aircrafts themselves that now that they will go through meticulously to find out how something like this could have happened.
They do believe the victims are contained essentially in the area of where the aircraft went into the water. They have to go into the wreckage of the fuselage of the commercial aircraft by hand, essentially, and try to find the remains of those who were on board. It's awful. In the big picture there, we have a couple different angles of this camera from the wharf and our other camera that we have from Southwest D.C. But, you know, something that's interesting that you could kind of see is, you know, we've had this shot up throughout the day today. What appears to be the wreckage of the helicopter, and we've seen some other shots that have wreckage of more of the fuselage. It's in very shallow water. There is a channel in the Potomac in that area for the shipping channel, the deeper, larger vessels that's about 30 feet deep, but a good chunk of the water in that part of the river is only about 8 feet deep. And we heard from the D.C. fire chief, actually, that in some of the places where the plane, in particular the fuselage, came to rest, it's only waist-deep water. So very shallow, and that's why in some of these cases you're seeing not the full-size boats, but you see some of the, you know, there's rescue boats that can go on, you know, essentially skirt on top of the water. They don't need to be in any type of deep water. And also we saw a couple jet skis go by as well, which you rarely ever see on the Potomac River. But a few of those were just floating by as well recently, as they still have dozens and dozens of people in the water that are going to be working throughout the day today on the recovery mission.
And as we await to hear from President Trump as he takes the podium in just a couple of minutes, we want to look at what former presidents are saying. We understand that former President Obama as well as Biden have both posted.
Okay, I'm good with that. Is there somewhere that's just showing the White House podium without all the hoopla? Here we go. Let's go to the Associated Press. Hot mic. Isn't it weird to see? Look at it. It looks like a stage. See the lights at the top and everything? The freaking pillars. All that shit's plastic and fake. it's all made to look like fancy, but when we get this angle, it always trips me out. This angle always makes me think, all the world's a stage, y'all. A little setup. The AP, baby.
Yeah, Pamela, President Trump spent last night in the Situation Room with his team getting briefed as this crash happened just about 8:48 p.m. Eastern Time. He was being updated by officials throughout the night, posting regularly about the updates that they were getting. Remember, his transportation secretary had only been sworn in a few hours before this crash had happened. He was on the scene at Reagan National Airport last night.
I know this room is super small. It's like the size of like my living room. But you know, back in the day, they used to like zoom in just on the podium, and we never saw these views. Oh, thanks, Mandy. Oh, Jesus. Mandy's got the goods. Thank you, Mandy. She's doing a report. We're not supposed to hear her. She's doing her own report before it starts.
Well, we're told that the president will be making remarks before he takes questions here, and there are going to be a lot of questions about what you had to say.
Okay, check this out, guys.
Last night, when he said that this could have been prevented, how did he know that so quickly when the NTSB investigation was not even underway at that point? Does he have information that is not available to the rest of us? The answer to that is surely yes.
There's the wing.
There'll be a lot of questions about that, a lot of questions.
Hang on, let me mute them.
Of this air.
It's annoying. Here, thank you, Mandy, for this picture. This is quite shocking. But here is the wing that Spencer took the picture of, right? Spencer took a picture of the wing before taking off, and then here we have it in the water. Look at that. Trying to make out like all this over here. God almighty. That's horrible. Horrific. They have no business flying choppers there for fun. There is no reason to run drills there during nights or moments of high traffic. Ridiculous. I agree. We need some answers. Cricket, that's a really good question. I don't know. Hey, 2-year-olds. I see ya. It's seats. That's what that is? You're kidding. Hold on. Wow. The Black Hawk wasn't flying for fun. Training missions happen every single night. It is how you maintain combat readiness. Right, but why do they have to do it in such a dangerous area? Like a place that's already difficult to land. You know what I mean? Why are they? I don't know. We need some answers. That's all.
I fell asleep.
Hi, Potato. Good morning. Good afternoon. We're just waiting for President Trump to speak here.
It's a picture. What is that? Oh, selfie.
Showing Duffy says his pulse are
Yeah, exactly. So what you're doing, I'm looking for that. I'll be looking for that on the wire, buddy.
So annoying to hear them all laugh while you know these people are like stuck in hotels, like waiting to identify and hear about their loved ones. Ugh. For protection of Washington. I want to know how much experience the three in the helicopter had. That's what I want to know. They were wearing night vision goggles.
He said an investigation is being conducted to understand whether the aircraft was in the right quarter at the right altitude at the time of the incident.
I don't know who that is. Does anybody know who that guy is to the far left standing? Oh, I know. They'll ask the dumbest questions, too. You're right. Thank you, Vivian. I appreciate you being here. He does look thrilled, doesn't he, Mandy? Mandy Joe. I like your new pic, Mandy. Very pretty. I'm with you, Potato. We definitely need answers. This is wild. They've been doing remote control flying Blackhawks? How do you know that, though? The poll says, was this an accident? Yes, 34%. No, 27%. Not sure, 39%. We're all over the place. Oh, did you hear him? He's like, woo. Watch me whip. Watch me Janene. Come on, Trump. Look at Dr. Melmo. 334 watching and only 250 likes. Please hit the like and get ready for the presser. Thank you, Melmo. That's Peter Alexander, NBC News. Thank you, Elvis. Elvis coming in hot. Man.
I did get choked.
Peter. He's spicy, is he?
What is the deal here? Bruh.
You sounded so official, Malmo. I think Nash is right. I think we need to give grace until we know more. I agree. I agree. It just shows, Betsy, how desensitized all the media gets to this kind of shit. You know what I mean? It's just another day getting the story for them, sitting in the White House press room. These people all get desensitized. They're just, I don't know. Three, Ember. 3 were in the chopper. It got really quiet all of a sudden. He just did it again. Peter, he's getting impatient.
I'm sorry. Also straight.
Well, there hasn't been a crash in the United States on a domestic plane in 16 years. So it's not like we see this every day. Welcome back, robot. Scott Baker says federal workers ordered to return full-time to office February 6th. No more remote working, Scott Baker. Trump said, you coming into the office? Peter just did it again. It is, yeah, you have a better chance of getting in a car accident, but that's because we drive every fucking day. If we flew every day, we might have a higher chance of that. I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry about your nephew, Flobo. Thank you to him for his service. Peter's like, I'm going to be late for lunch. Trump's taking forever. Pizza. Pizza? Potato says, someone get pizza, cha. By the way, did you guys hear that there is going to be on February 17th, I believe, on Netflix, they're releasing the Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie story, which Gabby's parents participated in making, unlike the Lifetime movie that they didn't have any part of. We're waiting on Trump. We're waiting on Trump. There's a new doc about Black Hawk Down coming out next week. Weird. Oh, that is weird. Yeah, we're going to watch it in Discord. Faux show. Hope you feel better, September. Yeah, I wonder if there's a... Let me see if there's a trailer. Let me look. I don't know if it's out yet. Peter's face is cracking me up. Okay, let's take a look at this while we wait.
And this is our Ford Transit Connect that we've been living in. And we thought it was finally time to give you a tour.
Gabby and Brian seemed like a loving couple.
Talking about you, baby, burning hot.
Oh.
But behind the scenes, they would get into arguments.
No, turn it back. Baby, come here. I want to retake this video.
Brian thought the vlog was stupid.
Big open floor for you to keep your dirty feet.
The happiest people on social media usually have the darkest skeletons in their closet.
I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Gentleman was slapping the girl.
I have goosebumps.
Kind of looks like something like hit you in the face. Gabby Petito has not been heard from for weeks.
We had officers go to the Laundry family home.
Well, we don't know anything.
Was Gabriel here? Or?
No.
She's not here. Is this her vehicle?
2 people went on a trip, 1 person returned.
I knew something bad happened.
We now have 2 missing young people.
I was screaming, what did he do?
Check out the shed, you need to come out now.
I remember saying to Brian, you keep
Wow.
her safe. And he looked at me and he smiled. He said, I will.
Wow. That's going to be good, guys. They're still not there yet. Wow, wow, wow. But look at, did JLR make it? Look. There's White Boy Lockdown Radio's wife. See her? I think that's Noelle. I'm pretty sure that's Noelle, if I'm not mistaken. And look at, there's White Boy with the bullhorn. See him in the red shirt? Dude, Noelle and Matt made the Netflix. Yeah, so you know what? This is Gabby's family making this documentary for Netflix. And that's probably the only way they can get the truth out. Because their case against the cops was thrown out, et cetera, et cetera. She was way too good for him. But now this is how her family is going to get the truth out. Right? I love how they didn't put Bullhorn Betty in this. I freaking love it. But there's the yard where the media was camped out for weeks across the street here.
I remember saying to...
That's going to be really good, guys. Here we go. Here's Trump. Perfect timing. Yeah, that's Rose.
I'd like to request a moment of silence for the victims and their families, please. Thank you very much. I speak to you this morning in an hour of anguish for our nation. Just before 9 p.m. last night, an American Airlines regional jet carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter carrying 3 military service members over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., while on final approach to Reagan National Airport. Both aircraft crashed instantly and were immediately submerged into the icy waters of the Potomac. Real tragedy. The massive search and rescue mission was underway throughout the night, leveraging every asset at our disposal, and I have to say the local, state, federal, military, including the United States Coast Guard in particular, they've done a phenomenal job. So quick, so fast, it was mobilized immediately. The work has now shifted to a recovery mission. Sadly, there are no survivors. This was a dark and excruciating night in our nation's capital and in our nation's history, and a tragedy of terrible proportions. As one nation, we grieve for every precious soul that has been taken from us so suddenly, and we are a country of we are in mourning. This has really shaken a lot of people, including people, very sadly, from other nations who were on the flight. For the family members back in Wichita, Kansas, here in Washington, D.C., and throughout the United States and in Russia, we have a Russia contingent, some very talented people, unfortunately, were on that plane. Very, very, very sorry about that. Whose loved ones were aboard the passenger jet. We can only begin to imagine the agony that you're all feeling. Nothing worse. On behalf of the First Lady, myself, and 340 million Americans, our hearts are shattered alongside yours, and our prayers are with you now and in the days to come. We'll be working very, very diligently in the days to come. We're here for you to wipe away the tears and to offer you our devotion, our love, and our support. There's great support. In moments like this, the differences between Americans fade to nothing compared to the bonds of affection and loyalty that unite us all, both as Americans and even as nations. We are one family, and today we are all heartbroken. We're all searching for answers. That icy, icy Potomac, it was a cold, cold night, cold water. We're all overcome with the grief for many who have so tragically perished, will no longer be with us. Together we take solace in the knowledge that their journey ended not in the cold waters of the Potomac, but in the warm embrace of a loving God. We do not know what led to this crash, but we have some very strong opinions and ideas, and I think we'll probably state those opinions now. Because over the years I've watched as things like this happen, and they say, well, we're always investigating, and then the investigation 3 years later, they announce it. We think we have some pretty good ideas. But we'll find out how this disaster occurred, and we'll ensure that nothing like this ever happens again. The FAA and the NTSB and the U.S. military will be carrying out a systematic and comprehensive investigation. Our new Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, his second day on the job when that happened. It's a rough one. We'll be working tirelessly. He's a great gentleman. The whole group these are great people, and they are working tirelessly to figure out exactly what happened. We will state certain opinions, however. I'm also immediately appointing an acting commissioner to the FAA, Christopher Rocheleau, a 22-year veteran of the agency, highly respected. Christopher, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We must have only the highest standards for those who work in our aviation system. I changed the Obama standards from very mediocre at best to extraordinary. You remember that. Only the highest aptitude, they have to be the highest intellect and psychologically superior people were allowed to qualify for air traffic controllers. That was not so prior to getting there. When I arrived in 2016, I made that change very early on because I always felt this was a job that, and other jobs too, but this was a job that had to be superior intelligence, and we didn't really have that, and we had it. And then when I left office, and Biden took over, he changed them back to lower than ever before. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. And they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their politics was even worse. So as you know, last week, long before the crash, I signed an executive order restoring our highest standards for air traffic controllers and other important jobs throughout the country. So it was very interesting. About a week ago, almost upon entering office, I signed something last week that was an executive order, very powerful, on restoring the highest standards of air traffic controllers and others, by the way. Then my administration will set the highest possible bar for aviation safety. We have to have our smartest people. It doesn't matter what they look like, how they speak, who they are. It matters intellect, talent, the word talent. They have to be talented, naturally talented geniuses. You can't have regular people doing that job. They won't be able to do it. But we'll restore faith in American air travel. I'll have more to say about that. I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them, they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so.
Well, that is a problem, guys.
On January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office, they put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program. Then another.
But the question is, did they
article,
have
the Federal
anybody
Aviation
hired under those
This was
circumstances?
Before I got to office recently, second term. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, I mean, actually their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have. Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened, because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target, and you need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism all qualify for the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, a little runway. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit.
Oh, my God.
The Department of Transportation.
He said bullshit.
His government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity. So I had to say that it's terrible. Then it's a group within the FAA, another story, determined that the workforce was too white, that they had concerted efforts to
Now it's race?
get the administration to change that and to change it immediately. This was in the Obama administration just prior to my getting there. And we took care of African Americans, Hispanic Americans. We took care of everybody at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's one of the reasons I won. But they actually came out with a directive, too white. And we want the people that are competent. But now we mourn and we pray and would like to ask all Americans to join me in a moment of silence as we ask God to watch over those who have lost their lives and bring comfort to the loved ones. And I just want to say God bless everyone in this room. This has been a terrible, very short period of time. We'll get to the bottom of it. So we all saw the same thing. We've seen it many times. I've had the honor of hearing tapes. Tapes are scary, very scary tapes. You had a airliner coming in, American Airlines. He was doing everything right. He was on track. He was the same track as everybody else. They came in. It's probably the same track as they've had for 25 years or more. He's coming in the path. And for some reason, he had a helicopter that was at the same height, obviously when they hit, but pretty much the same height, and going at an angle that was unbelievably bad. When the air traffic controller said, do you see, he was talking about, do you see him? But there was very little time left when that was stated. And then also, he said, follow him in. And then almost immediately after that, seconds after that, there was the crash that took place. Well, you follow him in, that means like everything's fine, follow him in. You had a pilot problem from the standpoint of the helicopter, because it was visual. It was a very clear night. It was cold, but clear, and clear as you could be. The American Airlines plane had lights blazing. They had all of their landing lights on. I could see it from the Kennedy Center tape. We had a tape up on the Kennedy Center. That seems to be the primary. Thus far, I'm sure we'll see other tapes because it's such an area where there are a lot of cameras looking up into the air, into space. So we'll probably see many other shots of it before too much time goes by. But we had a situation where you had a helicopter that had the ability to stop. I have helicopters. You can stop a helicopter very quickly. It had the ability to go up or down. It had the ability to turn. And the turn it made was not the correct turn, obviously. It did somewhat the opposite of what it was told. We don't know that that would have been the difference because the timing was so tight. It was so little. There was so little time to think. But what you did have is you had vision. The helicopter had vision of the plane because you had vision of it all the way, perfect vision of it all the way from at Kennedy Center where the tape was taken. And for some reason, there weren't adjustments made. Again, you could have slowed down the helicopter substantially. You could have stopped the helicopter. You could have gone up. You could have gone down. You could have gone straight up, straight down. You could have turned. You could have done a million different maneuvers. For some reason, it just kept going and then made a slight turn at the very end, and by that time it was too late. They shouldn't have been at the same height, because if it was at the same height, you could have gone under it or over it, and nobody realized, or they didn't say that it's at the same height. At the same height, it still wouldn't have been great, but you would have missed it by quite a bit. Could have been 1,000 feet higher. It could have been 200 feet lower, but it was exactly at the same height, and somebody should have been able to point that out. So all of this is going to be studied, but it just seems to me, from a couple of words that I like to use, the words common sense, some really bad things happened, and some things happened that shouldn't have happened. So you had a helicopter going in identical direction. You had a helicopter that was at the exact same height as somebody going in essentially the opposite direction. You had a plane that was following a track, which is a track that every other plane followed. And I don't imagine, I know I've heard today that they might have been following the preceding plane, which was pretty close, but not that close, the preceding plane. But you wouldn't have even been able to see that because of the direction that the helicopter was coming in at. So you had a confluence of bad decisions that were made. And you have people that lost their lives, violently lost their lives. We're going to take a few questions. I'd like to ask our new Secretary of Transportation to say a few words. Sean Duffy, great gentleman, just started. It's not your fault, and I know you agree with me very strongly on intellect and even psychological well-being of the air traffic control. It's such an important position, and I think I can't emphasize stronger. I changed it when I first ran in 2016. I changed it. We had the highest standard that you could have. And then they changed it back. That was Biden to a standard I read it to you. That was from one of your papers. One of the people in this room actually wrote that. And then I changed it back a few days ago. And unfortunately, that was, we'll see. We don't know that necessarily it's even the controller's fault. But one thing we do know, there was a lot of vision, and people should have been able to see that, you know, at what point do you stop? At what point do you say, wow, that plane's getting a little bit close? So this is a tragedy that should not have happened. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I would just note the President's leadership has been remarkable during this crisis. We've had a whole of government response, local, state, federal. And when you see that kind of cooperation, it begins with the leadership in this body. So thank you for that, Mr. President. You make our jobs a lot easier. You made an important point that when we deal with safety, we can only accept the best and the brightest in positions of safety that impact the lives of our loved ones, our family members. And I think you make a really important point on that, Mr. President. That is the motto of your presidency: the best and the brightest, the most intelligent coming into these spaces. I want to take a moment and extend my condolences to the families of the loved ones. We commit to them that we are going to get to the bottom of this investigation, not in 3 years, not in 4 years, but as quickly as possible.
I can't with this
the
guy.
NTSB, who is here today, as well as the FAA. What happened yesterday shouldn't have happened. It should not have happened. And when Americans take off in airplanes, they should expect to land at their destination. That didn't happen yesterday. That's not acceptable. And so we will not accept excuses. We will not accept passing the buck. We are going to take responsibility at the Department of Transportation and the FAA to make sure we have the reforms that have been dictated by President Trump in place to make sure that these mistakes do not happen again. And again, I want to thank you for your leadership, Mr. President, and I appreciate the confidence you placed in me. Thank you.
Lord have mercy.
Pete?
Welcome to the real world.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Again, I want to echo what the Transportation Secretary said about your leadership. From the moment we found out about this, we were in contact with the White House trying to determine exactly what happened. I would echo it as well. No excuses. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We first and foremost, from the Defense Department, want to pass our condolences to the 64 souls and their families that were affected by this. Never should happen. And certainly the 3 service members, the 3 soldiers, a young captain, staff sergeant, and a CW2, Chief Warrant Officer, on a routine annual retraining of night flights on a standard corridor for a continuity of government mission. The military does dangerous things. It does routine things on the regular basis. Tragically, last night, a mistake was made. And I think the president is right. There was some sort of an elevation issue that we have immediately begun investigating at the DOD and Army level. Army CID is on the ground investigating. Top-tier aviation assets inside the DoD are investigating, sir, to get to the bottom of it so that it does not happen again, because it's absolutely unacceptable. But I want to echo what the Transportation Secretary and you, Mr. President, said, because it pertains to the DoD as well. We will have the best and brightest in every position possible. As you said in your inaugural, it is colorblind and merit-based. The best leaders possible, whether it's flying Black Hawks and flying airplanes, leading platoons, or in government. The era of DEI is gone at the Defense Department, and we need the best and brightest, whether it's in our air traffic control, or whether it's in our generals, or whether it's throughout government. So thank you for your leadership and courage on that, sir, and we'll stand by you on it. Thank you.
Very much. JD, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. I just want to reemphasize something the President said, and you've heard from the Secretary of Transportation and of Defense. There really was a whole of government response. We were all on the phone. We were all communicating yesterday, trying to get to the bottom of this immediately, but also try to communicate with the American people about what happened. Something the President said that I think bears reemphasizing, which is that when you don't have the best standards in who you're hiring, it means on the one hand, you're not getting the best people in government, but on the other hand, it puts stresses on the people who are already there. And I think that is a core part of what President Trump is going to bring and has already brought to Washington, D.C. is we want to hire the best people because we want the best people at air traffic control, and we want to make sure we have enough people at air traffic control who are actually competent to do the job.
Hold on.
If you go back to just some of the headlines.
Hey, bye, Nancy. I'm sorry that you can't join a chat with a bunch of adults and actually just remain neutral instead of making it about one side or the other when there's 67 people that just died in the last 24 hours. Just saying. What a bunch of liberal talk. That's what you're worried about? Liberal talk or rights and lefts? How about the people that died? Jesus.
Headlines over the past 10 years, you have many hundreds of people suing the government because they would like to be air traffic controllers, but they were turned away because of the color of their skin. That policy ends under Donald Trump's leadership because safety is the first priority of our aviation industry. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, on DEI and the claims that you've made, are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been.
Take
we
a
have
seat.
a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power. You have to go by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened. And we'll see. We're going to look into that, and we're going to see. But certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest. We want somebody that's psychologically superior, and that's what we're going to have. Yeah.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Mr. President, you mentioned at the top of the briefing that there were several Russian nationals on the flight.
Yes.
Will the U.S. government be willing to facilitate the transfer of their remains, considering the fact there is no direct air travel between the two countries?
We've already been in contact with Russia, and the answer is yes, we will facilitate. Yes. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. The situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is getting worse, even though President John Lorenzo has been mediating the conflict between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo because he wants to bring peace and stability.
What is this about?
The situation is really bad right now. I want to hear from Ms. President if you have any plan in the future to bring peace in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
You're asking me a question about Rwanda, and it is a very serious problem. I agree, but I don't think it's appropriate right now to talk about it. But it is a very serious problem.
Mr. President, we don't even yet know the names of the 67 people who were killed, and you are blaming Democrats and DEI policies and air traffic control, and seemingly the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter. Don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation right now?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think with the names of the people. You mean the names of the people that are on the plane? You think that's going to make a difference?
Does it comfort their families
they
to
are
hear you
a
blaming
group of
DEI
people that have
policies?
lost their lives. If you want a list of the names, we can give you that. We'll be giving that very soon. We're in coordination with American Airlines. We're in coordination very strongly, obviously, with the military. But I think that's not a very smart question.
But are you
I'm
blaming-
surprised coming from you.
Are you blaming
Please.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for being here. Based on your analysis so far, do you have a sense of who is at fault? If it was the plane, the helicopter, air traffic control, and can you assure people that it is safe to fly in and out of D.C.?
Well, I've given you the analysis, and the analysis was it was based on vision. You had a lot of people that saw what was happening. You had some people that knew what was happening. There was some warnings, but the warnings were given very, very late. You know, those warnings were given very late. It was almost as they were given. A few seconds later, there was the crash. It should have been brought up earlier. But the people in the helicopter should have seen where they were going. I can't imagine people with 20/20 vision not seeing, you know, what's happening up there.
I agree with
Again, they
this.
shouldn't
I
have been at the same height. You're going in reverse directions or sideways directions. Obviously, you want to be at different heights. I see it all the time when I'm flying. You have planes going in the opposite. They're always lower, we're higher, or they're... So if somehow there's a screw-up, there's not going to be a tragedy. It'll be close, but you know, there's never going to be a tragedy if you're at a different elevation. For whatever reason, they were at the same elevation. And also, from the American Airlines standard, he's along the track that every plane is along. You say, what was a helicopter doing in that track? It's very sad. But visually, somebody should have been able to see and taken that helicopter out of play. And they should have been at a different height.
Thank you, sir. You mentioned the Russians that were on board that plane. What other nationalities were on board that passenger?
There were a couple of others. We're going to be announcing it in about an hour. We have some very specific information. We're calling the countries. We've spoken to most of them, but there were some other countries represented.
Mr. President, have you spoken to President Putin?
I have not, no.
Mr. President, on your executive
Not about this.
On your executive order, you've already issued an executive order you say will restore aviation safety.
Right.
This crash happened after that. Was the executive order successful, and what more needs to change to keep people safe?
Well, you know, we issued it 3 days ago, and we're in the process of making those changes. This is something that should have been done a long time ago. Actually, my original order should have never been changed, and I think maybe you wouldn't have had this problem. Maybe. Yeah, please, go
Yes,
ahead.
thank you. We see like everyday life that very often those diversity hires cause sometimes issues, as you just mentioned. So what plan do you have? Are we going to see some fire? Are you going to fire some of those diversity hire in the federal government? What plan do you have?
I would say the answer is yes. If we find that people aren't mentally competent, you see the language. The language is put out by them. And if you see that, I'm not going to bore you by reading it again, but these are not people that should be doing this particular job. They'd be very good for certain jobs, but not people that should be doing this particular job.
Mr. President, you have today blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have. But they didn't build the systems properly. They spent a lot of money renovating a system, spending much more money than they would have spent if they bought a new system for air traffic controllers, meaning the computerized systems. There are certain companies that do a very good job. They didn't use those companies. They used companies that should not have been doing it. No, I think it's very important to understand that for some jobs, and not only this, but air traffic controllers, they have to be at the highest level of genius. Okay.
I agree.
I want to ask you about the ice skaters in a moment because the U.S. ice skating community was affected. But first, if I can, the cited FAA text that you read is real. But the implication that this policy is new or that it stems from efforts that began under President Biden or the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is demonstrably false. It's been on the FAA's
Who said
website.
That, you?
No, it's on the website, the FAA's website. It was there in 2013. It was there for the
Take a look
entirety.
what I read.
It was there for the entirety of your administration
Nice and
too.
easy.
So my question is, why didn't you change the policy during your first
I
administration?
did change it. I changed the Obama policy, and we had a very good policy. And then Biden came in, and he changed it. And then when I came in 3 days ago, I signed a new order bringing it to the highest level of intelligence. Okay.
It was on the website.
Please.
Quiet.
Thank you, Mr.
Welcome back to the. I'm sorry. You mentioned that a vision was probably the problem that was at issue in this crash. There's been some reports that one of the pilots in the helicopter may have been using night vision equipment. Was there any
I heard
indication?
that. We don't know. We're going to know that pretty soon.
You put that in your
It may change
post.
your view plane if you do have the night vision. So it's very possible that could have happened. That would be maybe a reason why you wouldn't actually see as well as on a clear night. You can see sometimes better without it. I have a couple of more.
Mr. President, is it helpful to have your Secretary of Transportation confirmed, and does this intensify your interest in getting other nominees confirmed quickly?
Go to what?
Is it helpful to have your Secretary of Transportation confirmed, and does this intensify your interest in getting other nominees confirmed quickly as well?
Well, sure. We want fast confirmations. And the Democrats, as you know, are doing everything they can to delay them. They've taken too long. We're struggling to get very good people that everybody knows are going to be confirmed, but we're struggling to get them out faster. We want them out faster. It's a good question, actually. We've been pushing Sean. Everyone knows Sean for a long time. He got many, many Democrat votes, but they want to take as long as they can. They ask questions like some of the questions that Peter would ask that were totally irrelevant and not very good questions, but they want to just keep it going. They want to keep it going as long as possible. I was very honored, actually, that you got so many Democrat votes. That was really good. That was really good.
When I apply to meet with the families, and second question, is it your impression that military training that was done during that time?
The what?
The training that the helicopter was involved in. Is it anything you can tell us about
You
that?
don't know. These are the things that will come
The
up
training.
with the investigation. You don't know. But the helicopter obviously was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and a tragedy occurred. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I've got a question about the.
No, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've been critical of the current regulations, and you've called for big reforms at FAA. I'm curious, sir,
Well, I made the reforms, actually.
what is your message?
3 days ago, I made them.
Yes, sir. What is your message then to the American public in the weeks and months ahead? Should they feel hesitant to fly? And if you could clarify perhaps something that the Defense Secretary said when he said that this helicopter was on a continuity of government mission?
I don't know what that refers to, but they were practicing. They do that. They call it practicing, and they were. And that's something that should be done. It's only continuity in the sense that we want to have very good people, and that has to be in continuity, and that's what
True,
they
Mandy.
refer to. But it was basically practice, and it was a practice that worked out very, very badly. Okay?
On his question, the first question.
You'll be okay,
should
Jenny.
people be hesitant to fly right now?
No, not at all. I've not hesitated to fly. This is something that it's been many years that something like this has happened, and the collision is just something that we don't expect ever to happen again. We are going to have the highest level people. We've already hired some of the people that you've already hired for that position long before we knew about this. I mean, long before. From the time I came in, we started going out and getting the best people because I said it's not appropriate what they're doing. I think it's a tremendous mistake. You know, they like to do things and they like to take them too far, and this is sometimes what ends up happening. Now, with that, I'm not blaming the controller. I'm saying there are things that you could question, like the height of the helicopter, the height of the plane being at the same level and going in opposite directions. It's not a positive. But no, we're already hiring people. No, flying is very safe. We have the safest flying anywhere in the world, and we'll keep it that way. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much, everybody.
They keep going. Do they think he's going to turn around and go, oh, let me answer that? Look at that room, y'all. Look how small that room is. Look at that room. They really cram them in there. So, yeah. In the very beginning, he did say things about disabilities. Let's go back.
We will state certain opinions, however. I'm also immediately appointing an acting commissioner to the FAA, Christopher Rocheleau, a 22-year veteran of the agency, highly respected. Christopher, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We must have only the highest standards for those who work in our aviation system. I changed the Obama standards from very mediocre at best to extraordinary. You remember that. Only the highest aptitude, they have to be the highest intellect and psychologically superior people were allowed to qualify for air traffic controllers. That was not so prior to getting there. When I arrived in 2016, I made that change very early on because I always felt this was a job that, and other jobs too, but this was a job that had to be superior intelligence, and we didn't really have that, and we had it. And then when I left office and Biden took over, he changed them back to lower than ever before. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. And they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their politics was even worse. So as you know, last week, long before the crash, I signed an executive order restoring our highest standards for air traffic controllers and other important jobs throughout the country. So it was very interesting. About a week ago, almost upon entering office, I signed something last week that was an executive order, very powerful, on restoring the highest standards of air traffic controllers and others, by the way. Then my administration will set the highest possible bar for aviation safety. We have to have our smartest people. It doesn't matter what they look like, how they speak, who they are. It matters intellect, talent, the word talent. They have to be talented, naturally talented.
He did just say it doesn't matter what they look like, in his defense.
Geniuses. You can't have regular people doing that job. They won't be able to do it. But we'll restore faith in American air travel. I'll have more to say about that. I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities.
Okay,
that is
so hear that? Severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. Right? That's a problem. Maybe he's just making us aware of the other situation. I mean, do you want someone with psychiatric disabilities or intellectual disabilities running air traffic control? I don't.
And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them, they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was in January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program. Then another article, the Federal Aviation Administration, this was before I got to office, recently, second term. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, I mean, actually their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have. Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target, and you need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring, the FAA's website states. They include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism all qualify for the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, a little runway. The initiative is part of the FAA's Diversity and Inclusion Hiring Plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's Diversity and Inclusion Hiring Plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit. The Department of Transportation, his government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity. So I had to say that it's terrible. Then it's a group within the FAA, another story, determined that the workforce was too white, that they had concerted efforts to get the administration to change that and to change it immediately. This was in the Obama administration just prior to my getting there. And we took care of African Americans, Hispanic Americans. We took care of everybody at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's one of the reasons I won. But they actually came out with a directive, too white. And we want the people that are competent. But now we mourn and we pray and would like to ask all Americans to join me in a moment of silence as we ask God to watch over those who have lost their lives and bring comfort to the loved ones. And I just want to say God bless everyone in this room. This has been a terrible, very short period of time. We'll get to the bottom of it. So we all saw the same thing. We've seen it many times. I've had the honor of hearing tapes. Tapes are scary, very scary tapes. You had a airliner coming in, American Airlines. He was doing everything right. He was on track. He was the same track as everybody else. They came in. It's probably the same track as they've had for 25 years or more. He's coming in the path. And for some reason, he had a helicopter that was at the same height, obviously when they hit, but pretty much the same height, and going at an angle that was unbelievably bad. When the air traffic controller said, "Do you see?" You know, he was talking about, "Do you see him?" But there was very little time left when that was stated. And then also he said, "Follow him in." And then almost immediately after that, you know, seconds after that, there was the crash that took place. Well, you follow him in, that means like everything's fine. Follow him in. You had a pilot problem from the standpoint of the helicopter. I mean, because it was visual. It was a very clear night. It was cold but clear, and clear as you could be. The American Airlines plane had lights blazing. They had all of their landing lights on. I could see it from the Kennedy Center tape. We had a tape up on the Kennedy Center. That seems to be the primary. Thus far, I'm sure we'll see other tapes because it's such an area where there are a lot of cameras looking up into the air, into space. So we'll probably see many other shots of it before too much time goes by. But we had a situation where
bow down.
You had a helicopter that had the ability to stop. I have helicopters. You can stop a helicopter very quickly. It had the ability to go up or down. It had the ability to turn. And the turn it made was not the correct turn, obviously. It did somewhat the opposite of what it was told. We don't know that would have been the difference because the timing was so tight. It was so little. There was so little time to think. But what you did have is you had vision. The helicopter had vision of the plane because you had vision of it all the way, perfect vision of it all the way from at Kennedy Center where the tape was taken. And for some reason, there weren't adjustments made. Again, you could have slowed down the helicopter substantially. You could have stopped the helicopter. You could have gone up. You could have gone down. You could have gone straight up, straight down. You could have turned. You could have done a million different maneuvers. For some reason, it just
Firefly.
kept going and then made a slight turn at the very end, and by that time it was too late. They shouldn't have been at the same height, because if it was at the same height, you could have gone under it or over it, and nobody realized, or they didn't say that it's at the same height. At the same height, it still wouldn't have been great, but you would have missed it by quite a bit. Could have been 1,000 feet higher. It could have been 200 feet lower, but it was exactly at the same height, and somebody should have been able to point that out. So all of this is going to be studied, but it just seems to me, from a couple of words that I like to use, the words common sense, some really bad things happened, and some things happened that shouldn't have happened. So you had a helicopter going
I agree with
in
that Firefly. He gives us more info.
Identical direction. You had a helicopter that was at the exact same height as somebody going in essentially the opposite direction. You had a plane that was following a track, which is a track that every other plane followed. And I don't imagine, I know I've heard today that they might have been following the preceding plane, which was pretty close, but not that close, the preceding plane. But you wouldn't have even been able to see that because of the direction that the helicopter was coming in at. So you had a confluence of bad decisions that were made, and you have people that lost their lives, violently lost their lives. We're going to take a few questions. I'd like to ask our new Secretary of Transportation to say a few words. Sean Duffy, great gentleman, just started. It's not your fault, and I know you agree with me very strongly on intellect and even psychological well-being of the air traffic control. It's such an important position, and I think I can't emphasize stronger. I changed it when I first ran in 2016. I changed it. We had the highest standard that you could have, and then they changed it back. That was Biden, to a standard I read it to you. That was from one of your papers. One of the people in this room actually wrote that. And then I changed it back a few days ago. And unfortunately, we'll see. We don't know that necessarily it's even the controller's fault. But one thing we do know, there was a lot of vision, and people should have been able to see that, at what point do you stop? At what point do you say, wow, that plane's getting a little bit close? So this is a tragedy that should not have happened. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I would
I
just
can't listen to Sean again, but I want to see, what's his name? Sean Duffy? Let's look at him on Real World. Oh my God. Stop it. Is this him?
On the next Real World.
Oh my
Is this your
God.
favorite part, Mike? This is definitely my favorite part. What are you doing in a wetsuit?
Skiing it. Keep yourself warm.
Rachel and Joe found these guys to be the funniest guys in the world. Oh, they're so funny.
Real World, tonight at 10.
Yeah, he was on a show where they all slept with each other. That's all that was. A reality show where they sleep with each other. And people watch how they react afterwards. Fucking weird. I got to admit, I never knew who this guy was. Ever. Did they meet, him and his wife meet on The Real World? Lindsay, I can't. No, I'm dead serious. Like, I can't. Is he related to Patrick Duffy? I need to know. The Real World, Boston. They met on the show. Dude, is this him right here? Is that him in the white shirt? Which one's him? Or in the back in the blue? Which one's him? Big Brother, I think, was actually the first, wasn't it? Or was it this? Which one is he? All the World is definitely a stage. He's in the blue. So this is him in the back. And who did he marry? Which one is his wife? Real World was first. Which one's his wife? Prepper. Judd? What did he have? Fake names? Hot Coffee Chats. We're talking about the new director of transportation. He has 9 children? Prepper, shut up. Did you see that he's going to let podcasters into the White House meetings? You just have to apply online. What? Judd or Pam? They had fake names? Is that her on the far left? There he is. Okay, wait, hold on. No, he went by his real name. His name's Sean. There's Sean. Nils said in your chat the other night he was invited to the White House. By who? I have no idea who John and Pam are. Sean's wife is Rachel. Sean. Scene. A lawyer. Is that Sean right there? Why are you mad, snowflakes? You don't see why this matters? I think it's fucking weird. Sorry. It's not every day you get like the director of transportation for the United States of America that was on the first reality show. Right. I mean, why does this make you upset? I have a hard time taking him serious. So what? See, that's the problem, y'all. Y'all Trumpsters that are like really Trumpsters are like, oh, everything he does is great. Like, you never question like anything that he does. And that's a problem too, in my opinion. I think we need to question everyone, whether we like them or not. We still need to question things. That's just my opinion, because I'm not hugely political, but I think that questioning everything, there's nothing wrong with that. But to get defensive over Trump, it's like, why? It's not about doing stupid things. It's about, who is this person really? You know what I mean? Like, where has he been and what has he been doing since this show? I just think it's interesting when Hollywood crosses over with politics, because I don't always think it's a coincidence. Just like Reagan, I don't think that's a coincidence either. I think politics and Hollywood has always crossed paths. That's why Hollywood ever came into be. So I find it absolutely fascinating that our transportation director was on the Real World MTV. I mean, it's he's from Wisconsin. I thought this was like the show, but this is just pictures. Look at, there they are. And look. Right. Trump's also a reality star. It's all wild. I mean, let's face facts. It's like we're living in a reality show. I think it's pretty freaking wild. There sure isn't many clips of him out there, though. It's interesting. Road Rules All Stars? Is that him? Oprah, where are they now? I think this shit's funny, man. Here we go.
President-elect Donald Trump has tapped former Fox News host Sean Duffy to serve as transportation secretary in his administration. Duffy is the second host from the network that Trump has chosen to nominate for an administration post, but it's not all that's on Duffy's resume. Before he worked for Fox, Duffy was representing Wisconsin's
So he was a he was a Fox News reporter? Okay.
President-elect Donald Trump has tapped former Fox News host Sean Duffy to serve as transportation secretary in his administration. Duffy is the second host from the network that Trump has chosen to nominate for an administration post, but it's not all that's on Duffy's resume. Before he worked for Fox, Duffy was representing Wisconsin's 7th congressional district in Congress. He was first elected in 2010, the same year the Tea Party conservative wave swept through Capitol Hill. He served until 2019 and stepped down from Congress after his 9th child was born with a heart defect and Down syndrome. Duffy said at the time he wanted to spend more time with his family. Prior to his 2010 congressional run, Duffy was working as acting district attorney in Ashland County, Wisconsin. But you may recognize Duffy from his time as a cast member on The Real World Boston in 1997. That's where he met his wife, Rachel Campos Duffy, who also starred on the show and is also a Fox News host.
Why are you guys so bent? What do you mean, what difference does all this make? You don't find this interesting? You don't like to dig into people and find out? I mean, at least he actually got his law degree. I learned that. He's actually a lawyer. Y'all are too sensitive over Rachel and Sean Duffy. Oh, look at Rachel and Sean Duffy Reveal the key to a happy marriage from the kitchen table. Come on, Blit. Cooking with the Duffy family? Come on, you guys don't actually fucking buy this shit, do you?
You just saw them on Fox and Friends talking politics.
That's right. Now Congressman Duffy and his wife.
Come on.
Paloma, and this is Evita, and this is Patrick, who's pulling my hair. And we're missing two. They're at Catholic camp.
Oh, we're missing two. They're at Catholic camp. Say no more. Say no more.
Pulling my hair. And we're missing two. They're at Catholic camp. They're praying a rosary right now. The prettiest family I think I have ever seen. My gosh. Okay, so you're going to be a senior in high school, right? What are you going to do after that?
I was thinking about politics, political journalism. So yeah, broadcasting. She likes broadcasting.
Oh, sure. You'll have to come intern here.
And Congressman, the weekends when you make these pancakes are special. And go ahead, Rachel, start them because that's your family time, right?
It is, because Sean's gone during the week. So Saturday breakfast and Sunday suppers are important. So these are
So they start to go. So for us, it's not just eating the pancakes; it's actually making the pancakes, and it becomes somewhat of a family affair. And for us, I did lumberjack sports back in the day, so pancakes and lumberjacks go very well together. And for Wisconsin, we got a lot of our butter and our maple syrup and all our good things.
So, hey, Jack, on the weekend when your dad is finally home after a week in Washington, D.C., do you let him sleep late, or do you want to get him up and get going?
Oof, I don't think it's me as it is them.
Daddy, I'm away!
Because I think he's still sleeping when I get up.
Like, that's so funny. Look at the dude doesn't even have teeth on the side. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to pick this apart. Y'all are probably going to get so mad at me. But I'm dead ass serious. I'm not impressed. I'm sorry. I'm just not impressed. It's just me. That's this good old J is for Justice and her judgmental self. Sarah, where am I? This is so fake. This is so fake. I don't even know who these people are. I've never seen them before today. Just saying.
Daddy, I'm away!
Because I think he's still sleeping when I get up.
All right, what's the biggest sibling argument going? Like when we were growing up, it was who gets the prize in the cereal bowl or who gets to sit in the front seat. What is it here?
Listen, they argue over how many sprinkles are on each cupcake. Come on. There's a lot of competitive competition.
This is a mess. I like this teamwork that's happening.
Yeah,
there's a lot of flour flying.
So you get all your wedding. These are lemon ricotta blueberry pancakes.
Ooh, cheesy.
We're using Wisconsin ricotta cheese. We're using Wisconsin butter. We're using warm Wisconsin maple syrup. We get your wet ingredients. You get your dry ingredients.
Okay.
You combine them in the trick here that makes them super. And then
Who's going to gently fold?
Well, let me get this together here.
Just go ahead.
Quick.
This is fucking chaotic.
Mix that
Magic
up.
of television.
Evita, you get that wet, the egg. You fold that in gently. So, Dad, here, I'm going to take baby so Dad can do the griddle.
You know, Congressman, if the U.S. Congress only got stuff done like the Duffy family can,
pancakes. Do you see what she's saying? She's arguing, why don't I get to do that?
Jack, how about you? What grade are you going to go into?
I'm going to go into my sophomore year.
Okay, very good.
Are you going to
All right, fold them in, fold.
We'll see about that.
Congressman, go ahead and ladle out the first batch.
We had to fold that. So first of all, get a little butter on our.
I think this is a 2-hour show.
These
Yeah.
These are not low-fat pancakes, right?
So that's how it gets the grill ready. What does it look like when they're cooking? You'll find out on the other side of a quick timeout.
Oh, what a cliffhanger!
All right, Wisconsin butter sizzling.
Oh my God, the song. The song. We are family. What makes him qualified, though, to be the transportation director? Like, what experience does he have with air traffic control that he can make the standards? I guess that's the point. If you're going to be making standards for air traffic control, don't you think you should fucking know how to do it yourself? I don't know. Just a thought. You know what I mean? How can you run a department if you don't even know how to do their jobs? That's like when you get a manager that doesn't know what the fuck you do, right? He resigned from Congress. What made him resign? That's kind of sketchy. What happened?
Republican Congressman Sean Duffy, who represents northern Wisconsin, is resigning next month. Duffy posted on his Facebook page today that he is resigning on September 23rd to spend more time with his family. The congressman recently learned that his 9th child, born last October, has a heart condition.
Oh, that's why?
The 47-year-old was first elected to Congress in 2010 and has also been widely mentioned as a possible...
So he had to resign because of health issues, but now he can run a department over the whole country. He couldn't handle northern Wisconsin. This is wild. Sean and Rachel ask for your YouTube support.
All right, we're doing our new media challenge here in the House of Representatives. What is it? That's Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We did Facebook, we did Twitter. This week is YouTube. You're probably asking yourself, why do I want to subscribe to your YouTube page? Sean, it's hard to get out. The reason is you have a one-stop shopping center for all of our videos, whether it's our debate on the floor, our committee work, but also some of our national media and local media that we're doing. It's all on Facebook. You subscribe, it's easy access. It's all on YouTube. Thank you. This is my wife, Rachel. She is here to moderate what I say and make sure the information is correct.
Yes. Click this button right here.
She's literally like plopped right on top of his lap, too. 2 of the kids were conceived in that chair. Are you kidding me, Island? The kid was conceived in that chair.
Stay connected to what's going on in the House through Sean's YouTube channel and help him win the House GOP race.
Listen, I married up. Subscribe. You check her out, too. See you later. Live from D.C., going back to Wisconsin later on today. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's weird. I think this guy's cheesy. Sean Duffy is out of touch. Is this him?
Is Sean Duffy that out of touch?
What?
Think about your grandparents or the working support a plan
it's
to
a fucking
privatize.
commercial, stupid. Sean and Rachel Duffy on family values. That shit reminds me of, what was that guy, that churchy guy, James Dobson? Did you see the thigh slap? Oh, shit. Are people getting mad? That's okay. They'll get over it.
I'm Sean Duffy. I grew up here competing in lumberjack sports. My wife Rachel and I are raising our kids with Wisconsin values. Hard work, honesty, and compassion. It starts at home, not in Washington. I want to keep our families strong so they can pursue their dreams. Because it's our families that keep America on top, not politicians and bureaucrats. Those Wisconsin values are what I take to Washington. I'm Sean Duffy and I approve this message. Because in Wisconsin, that's how we roll.
Looks like Stephen Crabtree. It looks like Stephen Crabtree right there. That's how we roll.
I'm Sean Duffy and I approve this message. Because in Wisconsin.
Oh, shit. You guys are too funny. It does. It's corny. Let's see our poll. Was this an accident? We have 705 votes. 34% say yes. 26% say no. And 40% of you say not sure. That man is very fertile. Lumberjack. Oh, I don't care. We can laugh at these people. Oh, she was on The View. Rachel Campos Duffy on The View. Oh, she was on The Doctors, all those shows. I got pregnant watching him. Oh, shoot. Rachel Campos Duffy speaks to the Milwaukee Tea Party. This ought to be
all
good.
All the way from Ashland, Wisconsin. Rachel Campos Duffy
is a blogger at AOL Parent Dish and recently released a book.
Oh,
and by the way, her husband is...
How nice. Rachel had her own blog on AOL and released a book.
Rachel Campos Duffy is a blogger at AOL Parent Dish and recently released a book. And by the way, her husband is running for Congress against Dave Obey. Rachel?
Look at all the kids.
My name is Rachel Campos Duffy. I'm a mom of 5, and these are my kids. 3 of them. Evita, Lucia, and Jack. Now, I'm here today because I am a proud Wisconsin mom and a parenting expert. That's right, the organizers invited me to speak today, not because I'm a concerned taxpayer, which I am, but because I am an authority on 5-year-olds. And these days, our elected officials are acting a lot like children. 2 weeks ago, our president spoke at my children's school via satellite. And I give our president credit for delivering a speech about the importance of hard work and the perils of taking the easy way out. The only mistake he made was delivering that speech to school children and not to our congressmen and senators. Life lessons that moms and dads teach our kids every day, at least we do here in Wisconsin. These are the lessons that the Democrats in Washington need to remember from their childhood years before they got into the Beltway. Number 1, family comes first. That means government should be working for families and not the other way around. And all the congressmen and senators work for us. We don't work for them. And as my kids like to say, we're not fans of you. What? I think they were trying to say, you're not the boss of us, we're the boss of you. Not the boss. Say, we're not fans of you. I think they were trying to say, you're not the boss of us, we're the boss of you. Good job, kids. Second, reading and writing are important. We tell our kids to read as much as they can and to do their work, and that's true for elected officials too. Congress, read the bills before you vote on them. Don't just hand it over to lobbyists and special interest groups to write, people who don't understand working families trying to make ends meet.
I'm skipping forward. Hold on.
Congress also needs to learn that nothing is free, not health care reform, not cap and trade, and certainly not our freedom. Freedom isn't free. Support our troops, pray for them, and thank them. Another thing mothers teach their kids is don't believe everything you read, despite what you hear from the media and Democrats in Washington. People who disagree with the president's proposals are not Nazis, fascists, potential murderers, or thugs, and we certainly are not racist.
Oh my God. The fact that you have to say that tells me you are. Sorry. I'm not fond of these people. Sorry.
I am proud, very proud of my Hispanic heritage, but I tell my kids that we are Americans first, above all else. that when you make a promise, you should keep it. President Obama, you campaigned on the promise to be the post-racial president. You cannot say one thing and do another. President Obama cannot be or say he is post-racial and bipartisan and then say nothing when Jimmy Carter and Nancy Pelosi say things that divide us.
All right, enough of Rachel. Enough of Rachel. Look at ABC News, Arizona. Dreamy Congressman Sean Duffy hypes up Donald Trump crowd in West Bend, Wisconsin. Dreamy? This is the media for you. This is why everybody's like, oh, we love him. Because that's that's what they're telling you. He's fucking dreamy. Sean Duffy to Donald Trump. Don't be so sensitive. Trump shocks nation. Reality TV star Sean Duffy to lead U.S. transportation. See, some people call him Congressman Sean Duffy, but others just refer to him as the reality star. It's interesting to see all the viewpoints. Sean Duffy exposed. The wedding video. What? What is this?
In 2003, a movie was released called The Wedding Video. It was produced by Norm Corpy. Norm Corpy began working in advertising and ultimately created gay entertainment television.
What?
Norm played on MTV Real World in 1992 and is known as an advocate for the homosexual community.
What is this about?
To help bring a deal is one of those efforts. In his commentary, he emphasized this as life when he was filming the wedding of Sean and Rachel Duffy. Norm is originally from Ironwood, Michigan.
Oh
Sean and Norman have been you would want your children to see. The video and they are very supportive of congratulations on this wedding. I am so happy for you.
Fuck?
Sean and Rachel come out to view the vehicle, which has been decorated with drawings. It is at this time.
This is fucking wild.
Prior to this movie, both Sean and Rachel.
I cannot. The rhetoric. The rhetoric. I think I've had enough of the Duffys. What's this?
When you watch the first season of MTV's groundbreaking reality show, you're stepping into a time warp to the early 90s. What? You can't deny it. So before the original 7 strangers reunite for the Real World Homecoming New York, now available to stream on Paramount+, let's excavate some of the not-so-ancient artifacts from back in the day that you'll be getting reacquainted with.
Dude, you guys are not going to believe this. You got to see this.
Oh,
please.
I do.
Address
I
book.
remember that guy. I remember that guy from the Real World. Hey, Cammy. He played a part in a gay wedding scene. That's what that was all about. So they're saying basically he's against, legalizing gay marriage and stuff like that. He's Catholic, but he played a scene in a gay wedding. I think that's what they were getting at. In other words, he's a hypocrite like most Catholics, just saying.
Thing we needed to remember all our friends' phone numbers before a smartphone did it for us.
Go ahead.
What is that?
It's a beeper.
Beeper, a device that notified you when someone was trying to get in touch. You'd usually have to find a land. I'm just talking about living pattern. Something that used to be done in person or over the phone.
I think this is the only Real World I watched was these guys. Remember her, Julie? I even remember her name. She was like, and these guys were gay. This guy liked Julie. Do you guys remember that? He's an actor. No, I don't think they're suggesting anything about him. They're saying he's an actor. You know what I mean? All the world's a damn stage, even in politics. Just saying. Laura B. I know stopped having. I don't know what you mean by approved users that's not blocked. Cammy, I don't remember their names. I just remember all their faces, but I just remember that Julie girl's name. This girl, she was a rapper. Remember her? This was from, let's see. It doesn't say what year. It's on Paramount Plus if you guys want to check it out. This was this is the very first season. The Real World The Real World New York. That's why it's the one I saw, because I only watched one. Look at this is them now. They did a reunion with these people. You can watch it on Paramount Plus. Yeah, remember the guy with the long hair? He was a musician. Julie was from like the Midwest. I don't know who Puck is. I didn't watch any of them. I just watched this New York one. But you can go watch the reunion, I guess, of the first. This is them. Julie is really pretty. She still looks the same. Pedro was, I don't know who that is. I hope I didn't offend anyone too bad. Add users to be approved. Yeah, I don't know about that. I just know block people and unblock people. That's all. You have to go in your block list and remove them and make sure you hit save. That's all I know. Puck. I don't know who Puck is. Flo says if you have Walmart delivery, you have free Paramount Plus. Thanks for that little tidbit, Flobo. All right, guys, I am going to wrap this one up. It's been fun. It's been real. When we get more details, we will report on it for sure. But thank you, moderators, for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the new members. That's pretty cool, Redneck. No, Flo, she's talking about Clues Chat. You're welcome, Laura. I hope she figures it out. Yeah, I'll be on my other channel later. I'll see you guys over there. If you are kind enough to follow me over to Everyday with Jay, I'll see you guys over there later on today. I wanted to let you guys know, too, that my son's going to be coming on the show with me this weekend. And parents, he's going to answer all your questions about video games, gamer tags, safety on these games, what it's like on these games. He's going to answer all your questions. Oh, yeah, Nancy Grace on Seth. I'll be live after we get the Nancy Grace release. That's right. So hopefully you guys will, W, you're here. My son Ryan will be joining me this weekend. We're getting the kinks worked out today. And come with your questions, because we're going to talk about, what Sebastian might have been able to do on these games. Minecraft and all these other games. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much. Let's run our credits, Myron, because I know you're here. I love you guys. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this live stream or video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my latest content. Want to take it a step further?
Bring it all in.
And join our community clickers by becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You'll get exclusive access to our Discord server, special channel perks, and much more. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.
Click. It's real easy, man.